Hello, everyone. We are back
Yay!
with some D&D.
Huzzah!
Lost City of Mezro. Sup?
We didn't die and things happened. Nobody's dead except for Messica, who then came back, and I have so many things to talk about.
Yes, that
There's
was...
so many questions.
Why does Owlbear say I'm a giant spider? Owlbear, that's rude.
yeah, so
Wait, that should be me.
last session, you emerged from the Feywild to find that a month had passed. What for you seemed only hours was, in the material plane, a month. And in this month, Artus Keimer had learned that you had gone missing and came to search for you in the Temple of the Rising Sun. When you emerged from the temple, you found him locked in a tense argument with Zoshala of the Obanashi clan of mage hunters. You managed to calm the dispute and learned that the Heart of the Wild had been taken from the Feywild by the wizard Kolati, and that he had been pursued to a giant tree in the center of the Cholton jungle, which became the source of the corrupted energy from what was once the Daijobi Senga. And so, with Zoshala and Artus in tow, you travelled to this tree, and after the Obanashi clan and Artus, using his Ring of the Winter, froze the writhing roots of the tree, allowing you to enter, you ventured into the catacombs deep below the tree and confronted the wizard Kolati, who had become a lich, turning the Daijobi Senga itself into his phylactery. After a tense and grueling battle in which Messica was killed, you managed to defeat Kolati, and Bulb managed to use a high-level Dispel magic spell to disconnect the Daijobi Senga from the essence of the Lich, in effect destroying his phylactery. The Obanashi clan, just in the nick of time, were able to revive Messica, and hailing you as their heroes, they took the Daijobi Senga back to the Temple of the Rising Sun to purify it and begin restoring Uptau's breath of life to the jungle. The first step along a path to restoring Mezro, and indeed the rest of Cholt, to its former glory. It has been a month since then. In this month, Artus has sequestered himself within Wakunga's manor, confining himself to the arcane library, determined to find the next step along the path to restoring Mezro, convinced that now that the Daijobi Senga is restored, bringing Mezro back would be a simple matter, if only he can understand what needs to be done. So he has spent most of this time conducting research, and you haven't really seen much of him, although we'll get to that in a moment. Messica, after declaring that Alessander had surpassed the need for a protector, left Port Nyanzaru and began to journey on her own in the jungles of Cholt. And over the course of the last month, you've occasionally heard whispers of her tales, rescuing tribal villagers from attacks from crazed dinosaurs or terrafolk or goblins. But Messica and Artus are not the only ones who've been busy this month. You each had a month of downtime, and so you've been busy in your own way. So we will start with Zinhorn. Zinhorn, what have you been doing over the last month?
Well, Zinhorn, apart from attending to the new sanctuary, so to speak, with Bulb has been just focusing on fine-tuning and exploring the extent of his elemental forms.
Very well.
How he can use them to best serve his
Yeah, best
serve the goals of the team.
goals of the team and assist you on your quest. So, spending this month in deep meditation within the Emerald Enclave's grove, while also attending to your normal duties as the Archdruid, you study all of your elemental forms intensely, trying to find ways that you could optimize them to squeeze just a little bit more effectiveness out of them and bring just a little bit more power to them so that they may assist the quest. So I would like you first to please make an Arcana check. The DC will be 18.
First roll of the... No, that is a 13 plus... What's my Arcana? Oh, my Arcana, thanks to the proficiency bonus plus, it's now 5, so that's exactly an 18.
Exactly an 18.
Oh, God.
Lovely. So, you've pretty much mastered your abilities to both transform and control elementals at this point, but there's always a tiny bit more that you can learn. And so after this month of intense meditation where you transform into all of the different elementals, summon their counterparts, combine them together, and repeat this over and over, manage to very slightly improve your abilities as an elemental. And whenever you use a whelm or a whirlwind or any of those abilities in your elemental form, the DC to resist it is increased by 1.
Cool. Zinhorn was also at the start going to take his vine and ask for the other vine, and just going to plant them in the sanctuary to give him a bit of a time to enjoy the sun, since we spend so much time inside.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
They've definitely helped us out in many ways, that they deserve a little bit of downtime in the sun.
Yes, so please make a nature check.
That is also an 18.
So, you decide to reward the vines for all the good they've done. Plant them in a nice spot in the central grove, right behind the big tree that Bulb has grown and the monument to Onyx and the 9 gods that are spread around it. And here, in the middle of the grove, the roof is an open air. It's an open air roof in this circular room, and so sunlight filters down through most of the day. And so you end up giving the vines the best place you can find them in the grove, and they spend the month bathing in almost constant sunlight, soaking it up and enjoying not being cooped up in a greenhouse this time, but rather getting to rest and relax in a druid grove with plants and animals and nature around them. And so, whenever your vine attacks with a weapon, you get +1 to the attack roll.
Yay.
As a month of rest and relaxation in the sun seems to have strengthened your vines. At the end of the month, when you remove them from the dirt and wrap them once again around your hands, they seem stronger, thicker, perhaps a little bit longer and more eager to get back into the action.
Cool.
Next, we get to Bobbit/Alisander. How do you spend the month?
Well, after the actions or the efforts of one Mr. Climber from the previous adventure. Alessandra would very much like to once again immediately return to Waterdeep since she still has things to do over there. Plus, every time she seems to come to Chult, things just kind of go to shit, so any break is a good break.
Yep.
So we'll happily return back to Waterdeep if, travel by plants is available, which I'm guessing with Bulb it definitely is.
Yes.
And since it's been over a month since we left, we'd definitely like to check in on the whole storefront thing that she's meant to be setting up or meant to be taking over.
Yes. So when you return to Waterdeep, you find it in the midst of blooming spring. The weather is humid, although after spending as long as you have in Chult, you've come to not find it as bothersome in Waterdeep as you used to. And as you see people scurrying around, sweat painted on their brows, flitting back and forth between spots of shade and wiping their brows, you can't help but smirk a little bit. To them it is indeed humid, and you remember your first spring in Waterdeep. It wasn't a time where you wanted to be outdoors most of the day, but after the jungles of Chult, this is nothing. It is completely bearable. And so, making your way through the busy streets, enjoying the pleasant breeze that seems to bother everyone else as the mists of spring begin to settle in, clouding the streets and blanketing them in a soft dampness. You return to Troll Skull Alley to the pawnbroker run by Amelia, the red-haired woman who you've come to regard as a close friend. And as you approach the store, you find the sign is dusty, faded. The word pawnbroker has started to fade away. The windows are boarded up, and a big sign has been placed in the front window, and you read in Amelia's neat handwriting a notice posted onto the front of this sign, and it says, "Now closed, out of business, reopening soon under new management."
Well, can't say I didn't see that coming, but... So she's not there anymore?
You think for a moment where you might find Amelia, and then you look up and notice that the shop has a second floor. All the times you've been in the shop, you've only ever seen the first floor, and it seems that the shop takes up the entirety of the first floor. So the second floor must be Amelia's living quarters, meaning she probably, at the very least, still lives within, even though she no longer conducts business here. So what would you like to do?
I mean, I could go through the front door and announce myself properly, or I could just teleport in through the second story window and see what happens.
Yep, so you use your Misty Step, look up at the window on the second floor, quickly glance over your shoulder to make sure no one in the crowd is watching you, and then you take a step forward, and the next second you are stepping onto plush green carpet in an upstairs bedroom. Amelia is sitting at a desk facing the window, rifling through piles of papers, perhaps setting the last affairs of the shop in order. And as she sees you step onto the carpet next to her, she screams, "Ah!" and jumps. Then she turns her head, recognizes you, clasps a hand to her chest, and breathes a deep sigh of relief. Oh, Bobbit. Oh, you startled me. I wasn't expecting you to be back quite so soon, and, well, not in this manner at least.
I wasn't sure if the front door was unlocked or anything, so ourselves in.
She breathes a sigh of relief again, and then breathes a few more times, calming herself down. And then she smiles and she says, "Well, I must say you're just in time. I closed down the shop a 10 days ago. I've been going through the last of the records I have, making sure everything is in order and up to date and that nothing is missed so that you can essentially take over just where I left off." She gestures towards the pile of loose papers in front of her, and it's now that you notice that they appear to be a series of inventory lists and purchase records, dating back at least from the last several years of the shop's operation. In fact, on the very top piece of paper, you notice a very familiar transaction. It's listed at the very top of the sheet of paper when this ledger was opened about a year and a half ago now. And it records the purchasing of the shop of a box of souvenirs taken from the ill-fated Waterdeep Zoo.
Yes, taken. Let's go.
The patron who sold these items to the shop is simply listed as Little Girl.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't know her name for a million years, so that makes sense.
You see her take hold of the quill in her hand, move it down to the very bottom of the sheet of paper, and then finish completing the entry at the bottom. You lean over her shoulder, and this final entry reads, "Closure of business, transferring of assets to Alessander of Sconeland," and then she writes today's date right next to it and signs her signature. She places the quill down on the desk, leans back in her chair, and says, "Officially, it's now yours." Flourish.
I wasn't sure I was going to make it back in time for this. Truth be told, recent adventures took us much further far afield than we originally planned, and we got a little bit lost. And just immediately perks up, and the voice just goes with, "Well, it's a nice way of saying we were stuck in another dimension for over a month. No, it was a month out here. It was about 6 hours in there. Time dilation is weird."
Amelia just smiles, sort of. You see her face flush red, and she says, "Well, you've certainly had some adventures by the sound of it. I sure hope that whatever you've learned on your adventures, whatever ingenuity you've picked up in these alternate dimensions or wherever you've been, means that my humble shop will be in good hands."
I'm sure now. Probably a rocky start. We've never done anything like this before, but I'm sure we can pick up a few tricks here and there. We know some people we could probably learn from at some point, but other adventures may come first, so this is more of a long-term goal.
Amelia nods and she says, "Well, I built it. I suppose I don't really care whether it crumbles into the dust or not." She stands up, brushes her hands together, brushes a lock of red hair out of her face, and she says, "Well, it's not my problem. It's yours now. You have whatever's left of my inventory to get you started, but everything else, it's all up to you." She smiles, gestures around her, indicating the bedroom, and says, "You're free to live in this apartment. I found it adequate during my years here, but oh, how I long for something more, and now is the time for that." She smiles at you again, and she says, "Now I'm going to chase my dream, and that is to build a wizard's tower of my very own, and perhaps, just perhaps, go on some adventures myself." She looks at you, winks, and says, "Thank you, Alessander. I do hope that this turns out well for you, and, well, maybe we may not meet again, but know this. My thoughts go with you, and from me to you, may this be the start of a fantastic chapter in your life. She winks at you again and she says, "You're not the only one who knows a few tricks." She turns around, takes a step towards the window, and there's a flash of light as she teleports away. You rush to the window and peer down into the street, and there you see her mixed amongst the rest of the people in the crowd, now wearing a long green wizard's cloak, complete with a huge green wizard's hat that slouches over her face, the very tips of her red hair just visible under the brim of the hat. She looks up at you once again, smiles, and then raises her right hand. A broomstick flies towards her from a shadowy alleyway beside the shop. She climbs onto it, looks up at you again, once more shoots you a wink, and then kicks off, flying away on the broomstick, zooming into the sky, getting smaller and smaller until she's swallowed away by the clouds above.
Well, there are a few more tricks up her sleeve than we thought. Oh, we should have bought a broom off of her before she left. Oh well, new room, yay!
So, what would you like to do? Would you like to get the shop set up?
Yeah, we'll spend the days I have during the month, moving stuff, organizing the shop, and moving my stuff into the actual store itself. Well, the legal stuff that I have, some of the more experimental things I may work on later, but during the night, since again sleep isn't really an issue, there is something else I'd like to do, more of a personal project,
which is,
and that is using the books that I've got from appropriated from Mezro and any other information she could find, specifically on the Ring of Winter and how it works and operates, because she has millions of reasons to doubt Artus and his claims on the item, regardless of how long he's been apparently attuned to it.
I figured this would be coming. Okay, so...
yeah.
I would like you to please, first of all, in order to set up the shop, get it ready and open for business, I would like you to please make, let us say... no real skill for running shops, so we shall just say this is a pawn shop, so let's say an Arcana check.
Oh, if you insist, good sir.
This is a
Alright, so this is fun.
Lots of little trinkets, so some of them are magical.
Okay, well that's a 29 in Arcana, because at this level I have a plus 14 in Arcana. Slightly broken, but it's Bobbit.
14? Yeah, how much was it? Sorry?
29. It's 15 plus 14.
Very well. So, you take all of the items that Amelia has left over out of storage, start setting them up in the shop, and you notice she doesn't really have a lot left. She did manage to sell most of her inventory before closing up, but there's a couple items here that will probably draw some business to get you started for at least a few months.
I was going to say, I'd also like to take the some of the stuff I picked up from the Sabatons and
place
put it up
that
for sale. So like
sale.
the plus one glaives, the plate armors, the great swords, and all that
These
stuff.
are fantastic additions to the shop, as her inventory, as you take it out of the boxes, you notice it mainly consists of either just valuable odd trinkets or else common magical items. It appears she indeed sold off most of the good stuff before she closed up. So the items that you have accrued end up being fine additions to the inventory. So now that you've got the shop set up, I'd like you to make an insight check, please, to see how well you managed to operate the shop during its first month.
Hey, I'm I'm waiting for the boot to drop on these dice rolls. That is a 19 plus 1, so it's a non-nat 20.
Okay.
Terrified with what is going to happen later on.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 24 from your Arcana and times it by your insight. 20.
No, it was 20. It was 29.
Oh yeah,
for the
29
Arcana.
times by 24 is what I'm going to do. Lovely. And so the first month of business goes quite smoothly. Amelia must have been a popular figure here in Troll Skull Alley, because once you get everything in place and open the shop up and hire and get a shiny new sign for the front and put a poster in the window that reads "Under New Management," the customers flock in, and although you don't manage to sell any of the items you brought from Mezro, pretty much the remainder of Amelia's stock goes very, very quickly, and at the end of the month you close the store having earned 696 gold.
Oh, damn. I will take that. Also, just so we're all aware, Bobbit obviously renames the store, because I think it was originally called like the Bent Nail or something along those lines.
And what does
Yes.
Bobbit rename it to?
Bobbit's Multiverse Emporium.
How fitting indeed. Well, Bobbit's Multiverse Emporium seems to be doing well with those takings for the month. You said...
And how much did he say? I got 690.
696. Not including the extra couple of 100 gold that you set aside from this to replenish the inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that the shop can remain in business for another month. Let's now proceed to your night activity. I'd like you to make a history check, please.
Okay. Bad history. There's the freaking boot. That's an 8. Damn it.
An 8. Would you like to spend an inspiration?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, no, I had 2 after the extra one I got the last episode, so come on, please, please, oh please. It's 14. It's better, significantly better than an 8 at least.
14. So the books that you, borrowed from Mezro actually contain quite a lot of information on the Ring of Winter. You spend most of your nights poring through these tomes and manage to glean the following. The Ring of Winter is one of the treasures of Mezro. However, in all the time it has remained in Mezro, it has never once been worn or its powers even tapped into by any of the 12 Barre of Mezro. You wonder why this is, and then you read further and you find more information about it. And you learn how the ring came to be in Mezro to begin with. Although Artus told you that it was a treasure of Mezro, stored in Mezro's treasury, and indeed this is technically true, it did not originally belong to Mezro. One of the Mezroan history books informs you of a frost giant raid that occurred on the Tabaxi Empire 600 to 700 years ago. It was during this time that the Barre of Mezro, along with an army of arcanists from the Arcane College, engaged the frost giant Jarl and his bodyguards in mortal combat and managed to defeat them, ending the raid, and the Ring of Winter was one of the spoils taken from this battle and added to Mezro's treasury, meaning that it originally did belong to the frost giants after all, and when they came in the aftermath of Mezro's destruction and took the ring away, they were merely reclaiming what was theirs.
Of course.
Artus Keimer has kept the ring in his possession for over a century, according to what you've read in the books. The Ring of Winter is a golden band that resizes to fit snugly on the finger of its wearer. A thin layer of frost coats the outside of the ring, which normal heat can't melt. The ring feels ice cold to the touch, and initially numbs the hands that wears it, but this cold ceases to be felt by one who is attuned to the ring. The Ring of Winter is a sentient, chaotic evil item with an intelligence of 14, a wisdom of 14, and a charisma of 17. The ring communicates by transmitting emotions to the creature carrying or wielding it, and it has hearing and normal vision. The ring is said to crave destruction, and it likes inflicting indiscriminate harm on others. It is stated that it is possible for one attuned to the ring who has an extremely powerful will to learn to resist the urges of the sentience within the Ring of Winter. Perhaps this is the price that Artus was referring to. The ring is said to grant its wearer mastery over ice and cold, and furthermore, it has the property to freeze aging. As long as the wearer wears the ring, they don't age naturally. This effect is similar to suspended animation in that their age does not catch up to them once the ring is removed. The ring doesn't protect its wearer.
I'm sorry. Can we repeat that last sentence?
Their age doesn't catch up to them once the ring is removed.
I had a feeling you'd say that, but at the same time, oh good.
The ring doesn't protect its wearer from magical or supernatural aging effects, such as the horrifying visage of a ghost.
But I do.
All you are able to glean from the books you had. There are
that's okay.
Other
That one line
the
was.
ring,
Yes,
and the books do not go into these, nor do they describe exactly what mastery over ice and cold entails.
Yeah. Just that one particular line of age doesn't catch up is very much peeking to the fore, because that means once again he's lied in order to save his own skin. So good, we'll add that to the talk later.
And so your research completed. Is there anything else you would like to do?
No, I think that's pretty much all we needed for that one. Research at night, work the store, or learn to work the store by day. No, that's probably all I got for a month's worth.
Yep. And so, when you return to Port Nyanzaru, what do you do?
Why not? Let's go and have a chat with old Artie.
Will you call Zinhorn along to join you?
Honestly, I'd be going directly to like the Druids Guild if Bob's the one that's sending me.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So I suppose while I'm there, I'd offer and just.
Did you have an eventful month?
Yeah, business is good. I've learnt much in my time. Say, I was wondering, you wouldn't happen to want to come for a walk with me? I feel that Artus and us need a quick chat.
Very much so. He's got lots to answer for.
You have no idea.
Well, sounds like we're in for some fun.
I agree,
shall we bring our vines? Shall we go collect the vines for this one?
Oh, only if you feel they're necessary.
Oh, they've been here. Go over and find them today. Are you happy here, or would you like to come join in an interrogation of sorts?
No. We're not having an interrogation. We're just having a chat.
No.
Isn't that right? I was going to say, he just looks over and goes, isn't that right, Keeper? Just see the very large image behind her, just cracking knuckles going, we're just going to have a chat.
Cracks his knuckles and looks over at Zinhorn and says,
Fine.
We're
having a very nice chat with someone. Would you like to come?
Oh, yes, please bring the vines over. I'm sure they'd love to get in on the conversation.
I can see many ways that they could be of aid.
I agree, says Bulb as he steps out from his office into the central grove, with Grigori and Igor following behind him.
Hey, hello, spider buddies.
They raise their front paws and call out to you, "Hello, comrade! Hopefully your business has been very good for the motherland."
It's a new enterprise. It's a new way to make money. That reminds me, did we make any money from the tavern wall in the last month or so?
Not yet.
No,
because it did just open. So it was basically closed during the winter. So
that's right. Just thought I'd ask.
Bulb turns to Grigori and Igor and he says, "So, we've come to an agreement then?" Igor salutes him with a front leg and says, "Indeed, great leader. You are great leader of Enclave. We stay in Enclave. We teach people of Port Nyanzaru all about glories of nature and communism."
Yeah, capitalism. Take a side, damn it. Take a side.
Bulb nods and says, Good. You will join the rest." He gestures towards the grove, and here is where Bobbit and Zidhorn, you look around and notice while you've been busy with your monthly pursuits, Bulb seems to have spent his month populating the grove with all manner of awakened creatures.
It's like a zoo, except they're happier and not being made to suffer.
You see some shrubs leaning up against the central tree, taking in the sun. One of them shakes a branch and says, "This is some good stuff, dude." And the other shrub says, "Oh yeah, best sun I've ever had, man." Up in the tree, you see a monkey sitting on one of the branches. He waves at you, reaches into his furs, retrieves an acorn and hurls it at you and says, "Hee, take that!" Climbs up further into the tree. On the other side of the grove, you see three large jungle leopards lazing around, sunbathing. One of them looks up, purrs and smiles and says, "Hello, darlings. Nice to meet you."
Fun.
Bulb smiles and says, "Yes, as you can see, I've been busy filling out the grove, making it a home for nature, and, oh, would you look at that?" He turns, looks over to the front of the grove, where a group of people have entered from the sunny streets outside, and as soon as they enter, one of the leopards rises to her feet and prowls over to them. You see them open their mouths in shock and begin to back away before the leopard raises a front paw and says, "Do not be afraid, darlings. I do not eat the people who come to learn." Bulb smiles and says, "Working just as I intended." He says, "Well, let us go pay Artus a visit then." As you make your way to the front of the grove, you hear the clanging of metal, and stepping in through the doorway from the sunlight outside is Sir Lucian, his adamantine armor glimmering in the sunlight. He sees you walking towards him and he says, "Oh, thank goodness, you've already decided to come out and meet me. I thought I was going to have to step foot in this place, and I heard you have a banana tree in there."
Oh, come now, bananas surely aren't all that bad.
He says, "Bulb sent me a message saying you would be returning to Port Nyanzaru today, young Bobbit, so I believe we have business to attend to."
Sorry, you cut out towards the end of that sentence.
So I believe we have business to attend to, if that is the case.
Well, of a sort. And yes, I believe we're well overdue for a chat with dear Artus.
"Jolly good," said Sir Lucian. he turns around looking over his shoulder and he says, "Very well, Colin. You've got the rest of the day off. I will not require my armor shined anymore." Then he
Alexander just looks him up.
Yep.
I was gonna say Alexander looks him up and then just goes, "Is it my imagination, or does your armor seem a bit more snug in the last month since the last time I saw you? Been enjoying the dino races a little too much there?"
So Lucian just looks down at the chest plate of his armor and places a hand on his stomach and then moves it out and frowns, screwing up his eyes, and he says, "Colin," he calls out, and you hear someone say, "Yes, sir. Please, when I get back to the races tonight, how about, 4 fruit bowls instead of 5, please? Thank you."
He's fun to mess with.
So, you make your way up through Port Nyanzaru into the hills where the merchant prince's villas are. Make your way to Wakunga's manor, a place that's become quite familiar to you. You've been here quite a few times now, and as it's now Artus's base of operations, it appears you'll be coming here a lot more often. However, as you approach, you get the sense that something is wrong. The 2 guards that stand at the front gate that normally watch for people approaching down the street are not looking towards you. Instead, you're able to move up the cobblestone road leading to the villa without drawing attention. No, the guards are distracted, their backs turned to you as they peer beyond the iron gates at something going on in the courtyard. I would like everyone to please make a perception check.
Okay. Clearly I'm paying far too much attention to my own thoughts, because... Can I use my passive perception of 11, which is significantly higher than what I rolled?
Yes, you can. And Zinhorn, what did you get?
Passive perception of 20.
Lovely. So
I have 11.
So, Alessander, you notice that there are a group of guards gathered in the courtyard, and they seem to be gathered around something deep in discussion, but that's all you see. Zinhorn, you see more. You see the doorman of the villa are standing in the middle of the courtyard next to Wakunga himself and a brown-skinned woman in a greenish cloak who you instantly recognize as Messica. They all have their backs turned to the gate, and they appear to be deep in discussion, shouting at each other as one of them gestures towards a bundle at Messica's feet, which, from here at least, appears to be a pile of snow with clothing draped over it.
I don't notice that, right?
I pointed it out.
Zinhorn does.
Zinhorn points out Messica.
Zinhorn points out Messica to you, Alessander.
Oh. Just raise an arm and just wave in a direction and go, "Oh, we meet again, Messica."
You raise an arm, you call out to her. She stops mid-sentence, whatever she's saying to Wakunga, and she turns around, and her brown skin shining in the sunlight. Her mouth opens in a big smile, and she calls out and says, "Ah, Lady Alessander, I was asking Wakunga to send for you. Please, come and join us. Something has gone terribly wrong."
You see, Alessander just sort of rolls her eyes and goes, "Of course, that's the day back in Chult, and we're right on schedule."
You move towards the gate, and the two guards that are there turn around, notice you're there. They apologize for not paying attention and then push the gate open so you can enter. You stroll up the path that leads through the courtyard and approach Wakanga and Messica. As you approach the group, you're able to get a good look at the bundle at Messica's feet. It is indeed a pile of snow. It is roughly in the shape of a man, dressed in red wizard's robes, and as you look down at the snowman's head, you can't help but notice that its face bears a striking resemblance to Artus.
What did he have done this time?
As you stare at it, you notice the snow is beginning to melt, and portions of its body, the tips of its arms and legs, have already desiccated and turned into puddles of freezing cold water. Wakanga smiles as you approach. He gestures towards the snowman, and he says, "Tell me, Bobbit, Zinhorn, Bulb, do you know what this is?" You may make an Arcana check if you wish.
Oh, thank goodness. We'll take that. Alright. That's 23.
Zinhorn, are you going to attempt one, or will you just leave it to Bobbit?
That is 18.
18? He notices the looks on your faces. You all raise your eyebrows. You know exactly what this is. Good, he says. You are, indeed, as good as they say, to recognize a simulacra already melting away in the sun. This is a simulacra. It is the product of a 7th level spell known as Simulacrum. To cast the spell, the caster must get snow or ice in sufficient quantities to make a life-size copy of themselves. They then embed some hair, fingernail clippings, or some other piece of their body inside the snow or ice and sprinkle powdered ruby over it. The snowman then comes to life. Half real, half snowman, a convincing replica of its caster. It lasts for as long as the caster deems to keep the spell active, or until it is discovered and destroyed. Messica looks at you all, and she says, "Our friend Artus has been missing for about a month now."
Interesting.
It's just eye twitching going. Because Bobbit has seen this before, back when we faced off against Banshee the first time and gone. I'm going to guess there's no word on, he didn't leave any notes or anything to that effect as to where he was going.
Wakanga just frowns, shakes his head looking down at the simulacra, and he says, "No, I'm afraid I have not seen much of him over the past month. He was spending a lot of time in my library conducting research on how to restore Mezro. It is quite usual to not see or hear from him for days at a time, so I did not think anything was out of the ordinary. Indeed, he had this simulacrum spend its days in the library looking at books, and then at the end of the day retiring to his room. And so I didn't question anything until I went to visit him this morning, and getting a look up close at him, I recognized it instantly for what it was. I had my guards destroy it and called for Messica. She stated that she has no idea where Artus would have gone, and suggested I call for you, and well, here we are. The man has vanished without a trace. We have searched his rooms. He has left no clues that we could find indicating where he has gone. And indeed, as the simulacrum was reading books at random in my library, I cannot even tell what he had been researching. Messica sighs and looks at you and she says, The thing is, I've been trying to get Wakanga to let us have a look at Artus's room and the library, but his guards won't let me through. They say that until they have completed their own search, they don't want to let any outsiders into the villa. That's why I suggested summoning Lady Elisanda, Zinhorn, and the rest.
I, for one, am very curious as to where our dear friend has run off to, so I'm not interested in wasting any time. Where is his room?
Look at Wakanga. I'd like you to make a persuasion check, please.
Okay, persuasion. 22.
Wakanga smiles and shrugs, and he says, Okay. Messica is one thing, but Lady Elisanda is another. I cannot deny your request. Guards, please take Lady Elisanda and her entourage to Artus's room and let them conduct their own search. One of the guards...
Is the snow... Oh, sorry.
Yep.
As we're going to leave, is the snowman just standing on the ground?
It's just lying on the ground, melting into the cobblestone.
Bobbit makes... Oh, sorry, Elisanda makes a very blunt point of walking directly through the snowman as they move off. Just casually stomp that to the ground.
You step on the snow Artus's face, turning the handsome, carefully carved visage into an imprint of your foot as you step through it, following the guard into the villa. He leads you through the torchlit hallways of Wakanga's manor. At several points, the floating swords part to allow you through. And then, somewhere on the second floor, you come to a stop in front of a room at the very back of the villa, flanked with a set of thick wooden doors. The guard reaches forwards, turns the doorknob and pushes one of the doors open. He gestures into the room beyond and says, This was Artus's room. Please try not to cause any damage. The objects within still belong to Prince Wakanga. You step through the doorway into the room and find yourself stepping into a lavishly decorated bedroom. On the left side there is a 4-poster bed with velvet sheets and pillows. On the right there is a mahogany desk pressed up against a wall. Stacks of paper and books piled along the top of it. In front of it are yet more piles of books just lazily, haphazardly scattered along the floor. And at the back of the room is a glass door that leads out to a balcony overlooking the city below.
Well, I know everyone else is doing their investigation, but I'd like to cast Detect Magic immediately to get a better look at the room.
Yep. Wave your hand and cast Detect Magic, and suddenly a big pink cloud of energy emerges in the very center of the room. Illusion magic. You step over and take a look, and sure enough, here you see a space in the red carpet about 4 to 5 feet in diameter, where water damage has occurred. This is obviously where the simulacrum was constructed.
Of course. So, No other magic in the room of any kind? No teleportations?
I'd like you to make an investigate check with advantage, please.
What? I like having advantage on things. It helps. It's 22. Because I rolled an 18 and a 3, so I'll definitely take the 18 to...
You notice that this massive pink energy in the middle of the room is not the only source of illusion magic. Indeed, you turn to the right and see that there is a faint trail of illusion magic leading from the center of the room to the desk. You walk over to the desk with the others following you and begin to feel with your hands the underside of the desk, and there you feel it. Illusion magic used to render it invisible. There is a secret compartment attached to the bottom of the desk right at the front. Anyone doing a cursory investigation of the room would not notice it thanks to the illusion magic, but as soon as you tap it with your hand, the illusion is dispelled, and now everyone can see this mahogany box hanging out from underneath the desk. There appears to be a drawer at the front that can be pulled open. When you reach over and go to open it, of course, you find it locked. There does not, however, appear to be any sort of keyhole. Rather, you notice tabaxi runes carved into the side of the compartment, so tiny that most would not notice unless they had their face right up against it. And they read, "The tongue of nature asks me to open."
Nature. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Just here, Alexander let out a very deep sigh, looks at the rest of you guys. I don't suppose anyone here speaks primordial by any chance?
So Lucian steps forwards. He clears his throat, opens his mouth, and lets out a series of guttural sounds. But nothing happens.
Interesting. I suppose the
Tongue of nature.
Tongue of nature. It's rather annoying. I thought primordial would have solved that.
Zinhorn, can you make an intelligence check, please?
That is a 19.
It is perhaps referring to druidic.
I was thinking that. I was thinking it was druidic.
Oh, sorry. I heard tongue of nature. I'm thinking, well, primordials is
that's a good interpretation. That more accurately would be the tongue of the elements, perhaps.
Fair enough. Oh.
Yes, Zinhorn will start druidic talk.
So Zinhorn, you step forwards and you say the word open in druidic. You hear a click.
Firstly, he'll just fast. Take a breath, Lucian. I'll take care of this one.
Lucian just steps back and says, Of course. As long as there's no bananas in there. Actually, I might just step away. With that, he steps back it backs away into the doorway of the room.
Just keep an eye on those outside there. You never know when that banana might show up.
Potassium's good for a healthy diet.
Turns around and looks out into the hallway as you step forward. Clear your throat and speak the word open in druidic. Hear a click, and then of its own accord, the drawer slides open. Inside is a single folded piece of parchment.
Well, let's see what that little friend's been up to,
Reach and grab it out.
Grab out the parchment, unfold it, and find it to be a crudely drawn map of Chult. On it, Artus seems to have marked some sort of itinerary, along with notes in the margin of the map. The first simply reads, "Hello, Zinhorn. I knew you would be the one to find this."
Oh, come on.
The next note reads, "I am going somewhere that you no doubt will want to follow." I feel that the next step to restoring Mezro can be found here. My research led me to believe there is a Mezroan tablet that was gifted to the people of Bakumora, and on it may be directions that will speak of how to restore the city to its prior state. And sure enough, a spot on the map is marked. Artus's ultimate destination, Bakumora, far to the southeast, at least a month's travel from here by foot. Zinhorn, I'd like you to please make an insight check.
Meanwhile, Alexander's just quietly fuming to herself of going, well, if you wanted help restoring Mezro, why run off on your own? Why the secrecy? And why do I still feel the urge to plant my foot directly up your colon?
17. As you study this map, the trail laid out to Bakumora, a memory, unbidden, emerges in your head. The memory that you cleansed from your mind using meditation. The mission, the secret task that you gave to Ava. Several months ago, you sent her to go to Bakumora to try to make contact with Archmage Fomori, who presumably still rules there. At the time, you believed the location of Bakumora to be secret, and so removed the memory of Ava's mission from your mind so that none could follow her. And yet somehow, Artus appears to have learned of it, and has decided to make his own way there. Down at the very bottom of the map, another message is scrawled. It simply says, "For Lady Alessander, I am sorry. You are right. I could do more. Please forgive me."
That's
Behind you, Messica just sighs and shakes her head and says, Why would he leave and not tell anyone? Least of all Zinhorn.
You know, we have a lot of questions, and I'm sure that we're not going to get any of them if we stand here and do nothing.
Indeed, says Messica. We should make arrangements to leave immediately. In fact, she is cut off as a guard wearing silver chainmail comes running into the room, red in the face, sweat running down his skin, breathing heavily. Lady Messica, Sir Lucian, Lady Alessander, and the rest. The city is under attack!
Wait, under attack by what? I swear it's this damn Yuanti, I will bring the necks myself. We had a deal.
His eyes go
50 years.
wide. His eyes go wide as his mouth trembles and he says, Giants!
Oh, lovely.
Into Baxi, you just have a go. What? And then Boba just peeks back in with, oh, that's much worse. Hooray!
The other guards beside him reach for their scimitars, draw them. Wakanga steps in through the doorway and he says, Where? The guard looks at him, takes a breath, and says, Market Square. They're destroying everything. Buildings, market stalls, chasing people. One of them yelled something about a ring. At this, Wakanga just sighs and shakes his head.
Great. So, not only does he flee the city, but he also leaves us to clean up his mess again.
Why is it every time we go for answers, we always get so many more questions and enemies?
So Lucian draws his
Why
sword.
can't Bubba just have one? Bubba just wants one day in Chult without getting attacked.
So
That's so
Lucian,
much to
yeah, it
ask
always seems
for.
to happen. So Lucian draws his sword, he looks at the rest of you and purses his lips, and he says, "Nevertheless, as the hero of Port Nyanzaru, I shall do my duty. To the market square!"
How do you even get into the city? They're ice giants. They're not exactly subtle.
Wakanga nods, he looks at you and he says, "Well, after you have dealt with the immediate threat, perhaps you will find out where they have come from, and you could put a stop to any more of them making their way into the city."
Wonderful. To war once again.
Ah, here we go.
Wakanga looks at his guards and he says, "Everyone to battle position. I wish to mobilize the defense of the merchant prince's villas. Lady Alessandra will lead her entourage into battle against the giants. Is this understood?" The guards all salute. Wakanga turns to you. He says, "I'm sorry I'm leaving this to you, but you, out of anyone here, are the ones most capable of defeating them. Best of luck. May Abtal watch over you."
Xenon just looks over at Alessandra and goes, "This entourage business is drawing thin."
Look at me. I never said I was the leader. Everyone just naturally assumes it. Meanwhile, you can hear us just on the other side, just muttering, going, "You want to hear the dino races? Assassins were just coming to visit for a nice day, and now ice giants. Swear to God, I swear to whatever gods that are out there, if I have one nice day in Port Nyanzaru, I'm burning this city down on principle."
After you, my lady.
Make your way out
Yes,
of the
come
bedroom and start running down the torchlit hallways, bursting out of the entrance of the villa and sprinting through the courtyard, making your way towards the market square. And sure enough, as you run down the cobblestone road that leads down the hills into the city, you see them. The buildings almost eclipse them, but not quite. Frost giants, at least 4 of them, wreaking havoc in the market square, each of them towering at least 20 feet. Swinging their axes, smashing the tops off buildings, raising their feet and crushing market stalls underfoot. As you run to the scene of the disturbance, is there anything you would like to do beforehand?
Yeah, get my get my shield going before we get into.
That's a good idea. Bulb does the same, murmuring vomit under his breath as you begin to run into the city proper, wending your way through the streets as panicked people scream, running towards you and away from the site of the giants' attack. Zimhorn, you do have the option of calling for help from the Emerald Enclave. Would you like to do that?
Yes.
How will you go about sending a message?
I don't have Skywrite, so I can't do it.
You don't have Sky, right? You could perhaps speak to a nearby animal and have them take a message to the Enclave, or you could all just go to the Enclave and go in person, tell them what's going on, though this would be a detour, and...
No, we need to go straight there, so I'm going to, with Bulb's assistance, work with getting a, whatever animal is nearby to take a message to get the Enclave.
Yep. So
mobilized.
Bulb stops where he is. He raises his staff and casts Conjure Animal, summoning 8 wolves into existence around you. you impart a message to the wolves that giants are attacking and who require aid and healing for any of the people who are affected. The wolves stay just long enough to listen to your message and then take off, sprinting down the street and disappearing around the corner, running towards the Emerald Enclave. Then, grab your weapons, look towards the carnage ahead, and run towards the market district. I'd like everyone to roll for initiative, please.
Please have my initiative be better this week.
It's off to a good start. That's... Where is it? Plus... Pretty sure it's the same as always. Yep. Still 21.
21. How did Zinhorn go?
That is a 23, so it's a decent initiative at last.
Lovely. Round a corner and emerge in the middle of the market district. You hear screams and shouts as people scatter, running and hiding from the frost giant raiders that are laying waste to the area. With their huge clubs, they smash through the roofs of buildings, kick at commoners as they run past, and fling javelins at the facades of nearby storefronts, collapsing them in showers of dust and debris. One of the frost giants, slightly taller than the others, appearing to be the leader, wearing a horned helmet, holds up his great axe and booms, "Where is the ring?" Zinhorn, you are up first.
Xenon firstly look at Bob and goes, "So do you want to discuss with the big fella whilst I look protecting the commoners?"
So, did he say that in common or in...
He did, he shouted in common.
Oh, good. I mean, I'm eventually going to use tongues, but I suppose if they speak common, that makes it easy. Like, again, heavy sigh and just... Okay, I guess I'm playing negotiator. It can only go one of so many fun ways. Do what you have to.
So, Zinhorn is going to summon an Earth Elemental.
Yep.
Right between the commoners and the raiders there.
That's a good idea.
To protect those ones.
The cobblestone shakes as an earth elemental lands between one of the giants and a group of commoners.
And then Zinhorn is going to transform into an earth elemental himself and come and
stomp over towards one of the other giants as a group of commoners retreats into a nearby alleyway.
Let me get my earth elemental sheet up. Sort of wants to hold his multi-attack so that if the giants come to attack, basically, then he's going to...
use his multi-attack on them. Yep.
Yeah.
Very
basically,
well.
To protect the commoners.
Protect the commoners. Yep, very well. Alessander, it is your turn.
I'm going to... I'm guessing they're quite tall because, again, they're ice giants, which still continues
at
to...
least 20 feet tall. They reach... They're about the same height as the buildings. Some of them a little bit taller.
Okay, well, this once again really brings up the question of how in the hell did these guys get into the marketplace itself without being noticed, but never mind. Questions for later. I'll cast Thaumaturgy on herself to amplify her voice and just look up, take a deep breath, and just go... Attention, attacking giants. The Ring of Winter is not in this city, nor is it currently anywhere in this side of Chult. We appreciate your need to find your ancestral treasure, but it is nowhere near here. Please vacate the city if you can, preferably without trampling and killing on the way out. Rather not fight if we don't have to.
Please make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Yay! Of course, you say disadvantaging Nat 20 rolls up first, but let's see what's on the other side. Survey says, good. So 8 plus 10, so that's 18.
The Frost Giant leader wearing the horned helmet looks at you and he shouts, "Where is the ring? Talai Jati Tungan!"
So they only know enough common to ask where the ring is, otherwise they didn't hear what I said.
That may be the case. What else would you like to do? Talking's always a free action, so you still have your turn.
Oh, I thought that was... No, I used my action to cast Thaumaturgy.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, alright. Well, next turn, you can get tongues going. Would you like to move anywhere?
Trying to work on things here, because I don't really have anything at the moment that I could use to help people. Which one was the leader? I'm guessing...
Frost Giant Warrior is the leader.
Okay, well... As much as I don't want to go and get my ass handed to me, I would like to start moving towards the Frost Giant Warrior so I can at least try and talk and hopefully not die in the process.
Yep. So you're going to move your full 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Lovely. It is Keeper's turn, and he's just going to shuffle after you. 10,
yeah.
15, 20, 25. It is Bulb's turn. Bulb steps forwards, and he is going to hold a Call Lightning in case any of the giants attack. It is Frost Giant Raider number 1's turn. He sees Bobbit running towards him, and he raises his great club and takes a swing with it, shouting as he does so. That is a 15.
Oh, cool. I will just casually sidestep that because of my mage armor.
Yep. He then goes for a second one, 18.
Nope, my AC is at 19, so just... Imagine Elsa just has this exceedingly just annoyed look on her face, is just sidestepping out of the way of these giants' attacks. Just like, no, I don't want to deal with this crap right now.
The ground shakes as his club slams into the cobblestone. And now that he's distracted from you, the group of commoners decides to start running. Except they are cut off. If they run to the east, the Frost Giant Warrior will get them. If they run to the south, the Frost Giant Raider will get them. So instead, they look over and just cower, hoping you'll draw the giant away from them.
Oh, good.
It is Frost Giant Raider 3's turn. He takes a step forward and, screaming a battle cry, swings his great club at Zinhorn. The first is a 19.
Does not hit.
And the second is a 21.
That does hit.
That is 18 points of bludgeoning damage.
Ouch.
Frost Giant Raider 2 charges towards a group of commoners, and he swings at them with his great club.
Well, they're
the
dead.
First is a nat 1, so he misses as the commoners run underneath his club as it slams into the cobblestone. He then goes for a second hit, rolls a 14, hits them, deals 16 damage, crushing one of the commoners under his club as the rest of them scream.
God damn it.
So because the giants attacked, then Xenon would have, and the elemental would have gone...
Yep, so roll your multi-attacks first, and then we'll do the elementals.
That is a 15.
That is a hit.
Oh, goody. And it is 2d8. 7 plus 5 is 12 points of damage.
12 points of damage, lovely.
And second multi-attack. 13.
That's a hit. Roll your damage.
Oh, wow, okay. And that is 11 plus 5 is 16 points of damage.
16 points of damage. Nice. Okay, now you can roll for your Earth Elemental.
Oh, these rolls are getting slightly worse each time. 11. 11.
That is unfortunately not a hit.
Okay, I'm somewhere between a 13 and an 11. Okay. Oh, that's better. That's a 12 plus 8. So
Yeah, that's a hit. Roll the damage.
And that is that's 14 points of damage.
Yep, 14 points of damage. Lovely. Your Earth Elemental slams its rocky fist into the giant. Okay, and Bulb is going to cast Call Lightning, because that's what he had held back. So let me just read that up, because I have Bulb's sheet. Let's see. He is going to cast his Call Lightning right here. Storm clouds begin to well above the market square, and then crash, a bolt of lightning strikes the Frost Giant warrior. He's going to make a dex save, which he fails with a 12. And that is 3d10. Unfortunately, that's only 4 damage. Wow, that's accurate for if Bulb was here, I guess. And then Bulb is going to run up towards Bobbit. It is the Frost Giant warrior's turn. He roars and he picks up a piece of debris next to him and hurls it towards Bobbit and Bulb.
Oh God, no.
So that will be a 24 non-nat. So it hits Bulb for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I think it just barely just mashes me into a pulp.
Yep.
So this is considered non-magical though, because it's just a big freaking rock.
So Bulb takes 32 points of bludgeoning damage, and Alessander takes 16.
Hooray! But still very annoyed look on her face, just ow.
He then uses his second action, his second multi-attack, to reach for another hunk of debris, and he hurls it at Zinhorn.
Oof.
Roaring.
Heads up, buddy.
So that will be a non-nat 28 to hit Zinhorn.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think it just hits.
Just, you sure you want to check to be safe?
So Zinhorn, you take 35 points of bludgeoning damage as the hunk of debris hits you.
Have I mentioned I don't miss fighting giants?
I know.
I know you probably missed using them.
It is Messica's turn. She moves 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And she's going to make a feinting attack to get advantage on Frost Giant Raider 3. He raises his javelin ready to throw it at her, and then she ducks out of the way and hurls a dagger at him with advantage. And that's going to be a hit. That's a nat 20.
Oh.
And she deals 8 points of damage to him, because it is only a dagger.
I feel really sorry for Messica after that whole thing at the end of the last session going, oh, I think I'm out of my depth, so I'm just going to go and do other stuff. And the first time she sees us in over a month, it's like, and now I'm fighting a Frost Giant.
Yeah. And then she's going to throw another dagger.
I try to get up, but they keep dragging me back in.
And that is a 25, so she hits him and deals 9 points of damage. It is Sir Lucian's turn. He's going to move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, up to Frost Giant Raider 1. And then he's going to make 3 attacks with his sword. And let me see, I believe 2 of them hit, 1 does not, so that is 8 plus 2d8 plus 12. He deals 22 points of damage to the Frost Giant. So that is the end of his turn. It is now Zinhorn's turn again.
Alright, seeing the situation that's happening, Zinhorn is going to, and also calling out to his elemental in to do the same.
Yep.
In Terran, grab the commoners and run sort of over, get them to run sort of over behind here. Like,
yep.
Pick up the commoners and just
pick
run.
Up the commoners, yep. So as you rush towards the commoners to pick them up, the Frost Giant gets an attack of opportunity on you, swinging his great club. That is a 16, so he's unable to hit you. Grab the commoners and run as far as you can, depositing them in front of the statue on the edge of the square. And then
standing between the commoners and the giants.
Yep. Your Earth Elemental does the same, grabbing the commoners and carrying them over towards you, drawing an attack of opportunity from the Frost Giant, the Raider. He swings his club at it, but unfortunately he cannot hit it with a 9.
Unfortunately for you, maybe. Good for us.
Good for us, yes. It is...
And just sort of try and push them to, like, run.
Yeah, you just shout, run, run! They nod and get ready to run. It is now Alessandra's turn.
Well, I'll look back at Keeper and go, do yourself a favor, try to keep Lucian from becoming a smeared paste on the pavement. I'm going to go have a chat with Mr. Leader over there. I will cast Tongues on myself so I can speak in Giant to them, because clearly language barrier is starting to be a pain in the ass. I will go towards his general direction to see if I can try and talk with him. Now, is there a way I can walk around the Giants without getting an attack of opportunity? I'm guessing not.
You just go, dump.
Yeah.
Without getting in reach. So you run up in front of him, cast Tongues on yourself, and then you look up at him, and what do you say?
Pretty much just another deep breath, because, Bobbit has to do that to talk. It's just that... Let's try this again in your own tongue. The Ring of Winter is not in this city. We're sorry that you come all this way for nothing. It's actually not even on this side of Cholt. The person owning has disappeared from the city without our notice. Please cease your hostilities against this city, because, quite honestly, it's not doing anything for anyone.
Please make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
That makes sense. Okay, that's a bit better than last time. That is a 24.
The Frost Giant warrior looks down at you and he shouts, "The Arl has ordered us to find the ring.
Yes,
I can't
indeed.
call off the raid. That would be dishonor to my clan.
But it's not here.
Then we shall bring spoils and slaves back for the Arl."
Can I cast anything with a bonus action?
Yeah, if you want.
Wonderful. With that, just looking completely done with this entire situation, Bobbit is going to use her... where are we? What the hell's the stinking ability? Mystic Arcanium, which allows me to cast a 6th level spell once per long rest without spending a spell slot, and I use it to cast an old friend in Tasha's otherworldly guise.
Yep. Before you do that, as you start casting it, the Frost Giant looks around and he says, "Besides, if I call off the raid here, our clan mates down at the docks are still searching for the ring over there."
Oh, son of a... Of course, there's more than one lot. Okay.
But you did get some information. At least you know where they're coming from now.
Yeah, that still doesn't answer how they managed to get this far into the city.
No, it doesn't. But you know where to go.
Grand.
Past attaches
wonderful.
otherworldly guise, and please describe what Bobbit transforms into.
Oh man, it's been a while since I've done this. Pretty much vaguely similar to what she used back when, we lovingly tore the Knights of the Holy Sabaton apart back in Mezro. Yeah, very sort of thin form, long clawed hands, the lovely smoky spectral wings on her back, horns. The skin is a little bit more pale now and scaly, working in around the UNT, but just sits there with two glowing eyes going, we can't really have a nice day in Port Nyanzaru, can we? Fine, this one first, and then the rest at the docks. Let's get this over with.
Very well. It is Bulb's turn. He raises his staff once again and has his lightning strike the Frost Giant Warrior. Crash! Makes its dex save again. Let's see. That is a failure with an 11. So that is hopefully better damage this time. Much better. 15 points of damage as lightning strikes him.
Also said a keeper can just go up to next to Lucian to help him fight the giant raider.
Yes, I'll do that in a second. One.
Oh, I got it. Just
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. And it is Keeper's turn. He shuffles towards Frost Giant Raider 1 and swings his fist, roaring. And for the first time since you've built him, you look over at him and he seems to be very small, at least in comparison to the giant before him.
He's just swinging around in like the shins, going, look, he thinks he people.
So he hits twice and deals 24 points of damage.
Nothing.
He slams. The giant loses its footing, falls to the ground, and then Keeper slams his fist into its chest as Sir Lucian runs up its body and digs his sword into its throat, killing it.
Alright then. Of course. Another kill steal for dear old Lucy.
It was a team effort between him and Keeper.
Let's go with that.
It is now the enemy's turn. Frost Giant Raider 3 steps forwards, uses his first multi-attack to swing his great club at Messica, and he misses her. She dodges out of the way, uses his second multi-attack, retrieving a javelin the size of a tree trunk from a pack on his shoulder and hurling it at Zinhorn. And that is a nat 20. The Zinhorn, you take 32 points of piercing damage as the huge javelin hits you.
Ouch.
Frost Giant Raider 2 continues to attack the commoners in front of him, brings down his great club. That is a hit. That is 13 points of damage. He crushes another commoner under the club as the remaining ones scream. And then for his second action, he retrieves a tree trunk-sized javelin and hurls it at Bobbit. And that is a 16.
Just so it leans out of the way of it, just flaps the wings going, now, let's stop having a tantrum, that's my job.
Finally, Frost Giant Warrior steps forwards towards Bobbit. He raises his great axe and goes in for the first. It is a non-natural 23.
Ah, damn, so close. That's still.
You have resistance on these, though, because they're not magical.
I know, but that's not the point.
So instead of 22 damage, you take 11 points of slashing damage.
Lucky.
And
I
then
like
he
therapy.
swings his great axe again, and it's a 24.
God damn it.
And instead of taking 27 points of damage, you take 13 points of slashing damage.
Hooray!
As he roars, "Glory for the Jarl!"
Yeah, that son of a bitch as well, just down to the list.
From the other side of the square, you hear a shout. Screw the Isle! This is for communism!
Eh? Oh,
And
cool.
Grigori and Igor come charging into the market square, accompanied by 2 Emerald Enclave druids. Igor rushes up towards Frost Giant Raider 2, and he goes in, making a multi-attack, 2 with his forelegs and 1 with his bite. Let me see. All 3 of those hit, so he deals 19 plus 12. So he deals 21 points of damage to Frost Giant Raider number 2. Which is a lot of damage. So that is... Grigori says, the great leader said to fight for the people! Meanwhile, Grigori charges to Frost Giant Raider 3 and does the same thing. Actually, as he charges towards the Raider, he leaps up in the air and makes a deadly leap.
Ooh, yay.
The giant needs to make a strength save, which he fails, and as the spider leaps towards him, the giant yells and falls prone.
Oh, wouldn't that be a pain in the ass?
And then he takes 35 points of damage.
Yeah.
And that is the end of Grigori's turn. Meanwhile, Druid 1 steps forwards and casts 2nd level Healing Word on Messica. And she recovers 12 hit points. Druid number 2 runs up following Igor and casts 2nd level Healing Word on Bobbit. And Bobbit can heal 11 hit points.
I will take it.
It is now Messica's turn. With a flourish, she swings her Kopesh, leaping up in the air, slitting the Frost Giant Raider's throat on her downward thrust, and he bleeds out on the street. She then runs up to join Bowl. The commoners that Zinhorn and the Earth Elemental deposited take one last look at the chaos and then run out of the square, saved and out of danger. So Lucian runs towards Bobbit and the Frost Giant Warrior, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and he makes 3 attacks.
You watch him somehow take it out before I get a chance to actually hit this stupid thing.
He hits with all 3, so he deals 29 points of damage to it, and he's going to add a precision attack along with that, bringing his sword down for another strike and adding another 10 points of damage, so 39 altogether.
My god, the man's a beast!
Indeed he is. And with that, it is now Zinhorn's turn again.
Alright, well, Zinhorn is going to get both him and the Earth Elementals sort of go underground.
Yep, burying into the cobblestone streets, spraying dust and cobblestone everywhere around you.
Zinhorn, use dig!
And then both are going to sort of make their way to the Frost Giants and merge together.
Yep. So you move your full 60 feet underground. And as you emerge, I'd like you to make an Arcana check, please.
So it's going to the warrior.
Oh, to the warrior, yep. And as you emerge, I'd like you to make an Arcana check.
Yep, Arcana. That is an 18.
18. You and the Earth Elemental tunnel under the street together, and then as you emerge, you push your body into the Earth Elementals, forcing your stony joints into the gaps between the between the stone plates of its body, emerging as a huge earth elemental.
So we're going to sort of like pop up right behind this giant. Let me just move on. And sort of want to get sort of far enough away so that Bobbit and Lucian are within 15 feet if possible.
Yep, and within 15 feet, yeah, they are.
So I leave the warrior would be like, or if I can, only have the warrior within 15 feet.
Oh, you only want the warrior within 15 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
I will do that. Okay, so you take a step back. And now the warrior is the only one within 15 feet.
And then Zinhorn smash.
Yep.
So going to do a ground smash.
Yep.
So trigger the earth tremor and violently pelting an area around it with debris. All creatures within 15 feet must make a DC now 20 strength save.
Yep, the Frost Giant Warrior will do that, and that is a 19. He failed.
So he is now knocked prone.
He roars, and the ground shakes as he hits the floor prone.
And then takes 3d8, so that is an 8 plus 6 is 14 plus 5 is 19 plus 7 is 26 points of damage, and
Nice.
is now knocked prone.
Nice.
And Zinhorn just sits there roaring. And it's Rocky times 2.
It is indeed Rocky times.
Jumbo Rocky.
It is Alisander's turn.
So you said he's not prone, isn't he?
Now
He
prone.
is now prone right in front of you.
Wonderful. Just sitting there with the staff in hand going, you know, it's funny, I had to sell my soul originally just to get a taste of this spell. Now I can do it once a day without any drawbacks. Funny how the world works. Just see the end of the staff ignite into a grim scythe and goes, but that's enough internal wondering for one day. Let's kill you instead. And we'll go for not one but 2 hits on this thing, because I get 2 hits
Yep.
with this.
You get 2 hits.
So that's 24, and the first one's 24, and the second one is a nat 20. Actually, that's the first hit, because I forgot I have advantage.
Yes,
So
you have
first
advantage.
first hit's a nat 20, the second hit is a 21.
Yeah, they
You're
both
welcome.
hit. Roll your damage.
Outstanding.
And remember, because he's prone, they're with advantage.
Yes, no, I know, that's why.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. No, believe me, I'm more than happy to take that. Just, yes, I'm bored with negotiations, so you can casually go die in a hole now. So the first one is going to be 26 points of necrotic damage.
Oh, nice.
And the second one is 15 points of necrotic damage. So that's going to be, is that 26 and 15? Should be 41 points of necrotic damage all up.
This giant's looking quite bloodied at this point.
Oh, he's not dead.
Oh, you
So-
know what that...
You know what that means, everybody?
Yep.
Well, I mean, no, wait.
there's plenty of people that are between...
1, 2, 3. No, Keeper can only get, like, behind Sir Lucian to witness his moment of glory.
Hold Lucian back! Hold Lucian back!
Yeah, what? I'm not instructing Keeper to go hold him back so someone else
Yeah.
can steal the kill.
Keeper just shuffles up.
Damn it. Let me see if I
Shuffling
have
as
anything
fast
in
as
the
he
book.
can as Lucian
Nah,
raises his
I
sword.
used the bonus action for my Grim Scythe. I got nothing,
Yep.
unfortunately. So, yep. Nope. Guess who's going to get the friggin' free kill on that
It
one?
is
Come on,
Bulb's
Bulb.
turn.
Come on, Bulb!
It's Bulb's turn. He raises his staff once again and uses his call lightning. Crash! The lightning bolt strikes the frost giant. He's going to make his dex save with disadvantage.
Hell yeah, come on.
And that is a... Well, good thing it was a disadvantage because he got an 18 and then he got a 9.
Yeah!
That
Disadvantage!
Disadvantage.
18 points of damage.
On.
It is now the enemy's turn.
Oh, god damn it.
The frost giant warrior slowly climbs to his feet. And he raises his great axe and makes a circular swing. It attempting to strike Sir Lucian and Bobbit in a circular motion.
Yeah.
That is a 26 non-nat.
God damn it. What's the point of raising my AC if everything still hits me?
So, Bobbit, you take 16 points of slashing, and Sir Lucian takes 33.
Yeah, I'm really glad I have advantage on the concentration checks.
And then, with his second action, he reaches for a nearby piece of debris and attempts to hurl it at Bulb and Messica. Roaring, the lightning! Roaring in giant, the lightning stops now! And that is unfortunately for Bulb and Messica a nat 20.
Oh, good
Of
lord.
course it is.
So
Yeah.
Messica and Bulb each take 52 points of bludgeoning damage. And Bulb has to make a DC 35 concentration check.
Oh, good
Good luck
lord.
with
Cannot
that.
do. And so the
Yeah.
lightning clouds instantly dissipate and the sky above is shining clear blue again.
Of course.
I'm just going to mark his character sheet. So 52. Oh, Bulb ain't doing too good.
Hey, can't imagine why.
Yeah, okay. It is the allies' turn. Druid number 1 runs forwards and casts second level healing word on Bulb, giving him 10 HP back.
Yay.
Meanwhile, Druid 2 is going to cast... let's see... Druid 2 casts Chalet on himself, and then rushes towards Frost Giant Raider 2 with his quarterstaff. And he hits it, dealing 9 points of damage.
Yay.
This appears to weaken the Frost Giant Raider quite a bit as he stumbles, wavering on the spot, allowing Igor to rush forwards, making his 2 foreleg attacks and his bite attack. All 3 of them hit. He deals 21 points of damage and leaps on the giant's face as it falls to the ground. And as he digs his foreleg into its throat, he raises one of his other forelegs and shouts, "For the motherland!"
Nice.
Meanwhile,
This guy's a pain enough already, man.
Meanwhile, Grigori rushes as close as he can to the Frost Giant Warrior, but isn't able to make it far enough.
Oh, no. Oh, god damn it, we know where this is going. We all know where this is going.
Come on, Messica.
It is Messica's turn.
Come on, Messica. Get some.
15, 20, 25, 30, and she is in range. She doesn't bother
thank God.
making her fainting attack because... Oh wait, he's not prone anymore, so she makes her fainting
he's not.
attack, ducking as he swings his greatsword, and then she takes advantage of this to attack with her first Kopesh with advantage. Good thing she got advantage, she rolled 11 and a nat 20. She deals 15 points of damage to him.
Come on.
And then she goes for her second Kopesh attack. And that is a 16. It hits. She deals 7 points of damage, slashing at his ankles. And that is the end of her turn.
I love the fact we're actively sitting here cheering the enemy to survive, or any of our allies.
He has 12
except
HP
Sir
left.
Lucian. Yeah,
And it is Sir Lucian's turn.
Hold on. Here
Banana
he
peel.
comes.
Banana peel.
Just say, here he comes to save the day.
Unfortunately, Sir Lucian hits with all 3 of his attacks, so that is
Yeah, we
3,
know.
C,
Look,
8,
we can't
plus
stop
16.
him even if we wanted to at this
He
stage.
deals 33 points of damage, stepping up,
Yeah.
dodging under the axe, and then sticking his sword up into the Frost Giant's chest piece. The frost giant gurgles as he falls to the ground.
I am literally calling upon the powers of hell to aid me, and even I can't stop Sir Lucian from getting the win.
The giants fall to the ground. The remaining commoners scramble to safety as the sounds of battle fall quiet. But you know there are more at the docks.
Well, I will say that, just in various languages of choice, because I can speak everything at the moment. Well, listen, I think
the two druids decide to stay behind to assist to the wounded commoners, but Igor and Grigori pledge to fight on with you. Grigori raises his front foreleg and shouts, "To the docks!"
Question, can I take something off this dead giant warrior to try and use as a, let's say a negotiation tool for the remaining giants?
Yeah, if you want, cut a finger off, perhaps.
Yeah, I would have said, I originally thought head and went, no, that's a giant head. There's no way in hell I can carry that even with lycanthropy. So yeah, we'll take like a finger or something, or an article of his clothing, or a piece of like something off his clothing that denotes him as a leader, because I imagine he looks slightly better than the rest of the people here.
Yep. So as everyone sets off in a run out of the market square towards the Port Nyanzaru docks, you lean over this toppled Goliath and remove one of his fingers, the finger being about the same length and width of your body, and you hoist it into your backpack, groaning under its weight, and carry on after the others as Grigori and Igor scuttle behind you.
As Zinhorn is rushing off, he's just going to be next to Lucian and like push him over, like knock him over.
Oh, just let him have the win. At this point, he can't do it.
Just going to knock him over and just keep running.
Alexander, after cutting off uses the scythe, cuts off the finger, and then just takes to the skies, because I have flying speed while I'm still in. Actually, this form only lasts for a minute, so I doubt I'm going to hold up long enough to.
You can try. You do have flying speed.
Yeah, so, it's only for like, the form only lasts a minute, and it's already been like about...
As you fly, as you flap your wings and soar above the streets, you look down and you just see Zinhorn elbow Lucian as he runs parallel to him, and so Lucian stumbles, nearly loses his footing and falls about a foot back, and then raises his fist shouting, "Hey!" as he chases after Zinhorn.
Oh, God.
I would like everyone to please make either an athletics check or an athletics check if you're running through the street, an acrobatics check if you're, making your way across the rooftops and walls, or in your case, Bobbit, flying, and you may make yours with advantage, Bobbit.
And I'm guessing I've now gone back into two separate elementals.
Yes, you have.
I'll fly as long as I can for the next, 40 seconds, I guess.
Oh, I'll take that.
That's a 21.
That's a 25.
Okay, so that is a pass.
26, sorry, 26.
That is a pass. I'm rolling for everyone else. Okay, so Bobbit, you're flying, so you don't get a complication. You just continue flapping your wings, overtaking the rest of the group, and you can see the great blue expanse of the ocean sparkling ahead of you, and sure enough, there you can see 4 huge shadows, giants, smashing surrounding buildings and throwing rocks at commoners and dock workers. Zinhorn, I'd like you to roll a d20 for me, please.
D20... that is a 7.
A 7. You round the corner, and there you see 5 men engaged in a brawl, and they're shouting, "Oh, that's my Sir Lucian photograph! You stole it last time! No, you stole it last time!"
Damn it.
As they're all reaching, trying to grab a photograph of Sir Lucian that's fluttering in the wind above them, punching each other and jostling each other out of the way. Zinhorn, I'd like you to make either an athletics check to just charge through them, or an intimidation check to cause them to disperse.
Well, there's two elementals charging straight for them, so...
So make an intimidation check with advantage, please.
Oh, that is an 18 plus, what's my intimidation? Is a plus 0, so 18.
18. One of them looks and he sees the two earth elementals charging towards them, and he points, and the rest of them open their mouths and scream as they dive out of the way of the two earth elementals. The picture of Sir Lucian slowly floats to the ground just in time for Zinhorn's earth elemental foot to crush it into dust. All of the men scream as this happens, and you keep running. Okay, so you passed your check, and you passed the complication, and so you get to the docks quick enough to get a surprise round.
Oh, yay.
Round the corner, sprint down a series of cobblestone streets towards the sparkling blue expanse of ocean, and you arrive at the Port Nyanzaru docks just in time to see the last of the commoners running, screaming towards you. Giants! They shout. Round the corner, step out onto one of the nearby jetties and see two frost giant raiders, another frost giant warrior, and a frost giant scald laying waste to the docks. Bobbing out in the ocean, a short distance away, is a frost giant rowboat, the rowboat being about the size of a normal fishing trawler, and beyond that, on the horizon, you see where the frost giants came from, a huge longboat, giant carved swan at its prow. You have a surprise round. Please roll for initiative.
Wait, is the skull the actual leader or is the other guy the leader?
You don't know.
No, I don't.
This could just be another raiding party.
19.
23.
23. Very well. Zinhorn, you are up first, and it is a surprise round.
So still got the two elementals.
Yep, I'm going to bring the other one onto the map.
Come from... Not going to let Lucian get the better of the battle this time. I'm going to have just both elementals. Am I able to merge again, or is that just the one?
You can merge again, but the DC is going to be higher this time.
Yep, so I'm going to attempt to merge again.
Yep. You glance sideways at the Earth Elemental, and it nods, knowing what's to come, and then you attempt to merge with it. Please make a DC 20 Arcana check.
Okay, here we go. That is a... plus my 5 Arcana is a 22.
22, lovely. You merge with it, forming a huge Earth Elemental once again.
Can I get to somewhere like sort of in here?
Stomp down.
Where sort of within 15 feet if I can, like with my size, am I within all three?
If you use your digging speed, you'll be able to get there. Would you like to do that?
Yes.
Dive into the dock, shattering one of the jetties and sending it drifting off to sea as you make your way underground, popping up within 15 feet of two frost giants.
I can only get the two. Okay. And then is going to once again start just rampaging and smashing and ground smash.
Yep, they're going to make their strength checks. That is a 21 and a 14.
So one save, one no save. And they both take 7 and 5 is 12, and 4 is 16, and 7 is 23 points of damage.
3. Frost Giant Raider 2 screams as he's knocked prone. Thump! The other Frost Giant gets out of the way just in time and manages to stand firm, but he still takes the damage. How much was it again?
23.
23, okay, so that is for both of them. Lovely. That is... Okay. It is now Alessandra's turn.
Okay, I'm going to try this one last time since I'm now all out of my otherworldly guys form, unfortunately. But since I'll reactivate Thaumaturgy. Actually, no, that only lasts for a minute, I think. Thaumaturgy only for a minute?
Apologies.
No, I'm looking. Yep, it's only up for a minute, but thankfully it's a cantrip, so yeah, we'll do that again, look out and just go, attention invading frost giants. And as I say this, I pull out the, whatever I ripped off the other giant before, going, your other party has already been defeated. The Ring of Winter, and I need to stress this, is not here. Apologize, you came all this way for nothing. Please get back in your ship and leave immediately.
The Frost Giant Warrior looks over at you, and so does the Frost Giant Scold. The Warrior raises his great axe, and he says, the ring is the object of the raid, true, but we also fight for glory and for slaves. Tell us, if we were to retreat now, what glory would there be to our clan? We would dishonor our Jarl, even as he waits for us on the longship. The giant gestures out towards the horizon where you see the large longship.
So, it's another one of those dishonor and before death types. Well, that's lovely. Well, I believe
the Scold, indeed the Scold steps forwards and she brushes her frizzled snow-white hair out of her face, and she says, the order to retreat is for the Jarl to make only. We, his warriors, fight or die.
Well, you're obedient pets, I'll give you that much. And we'll just reactivate the Grim Scythe and start wandering over towards... we'll head in the direction of the warrior, and I'll take Keeper with me.
Yep. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Keeper runs along, groaning. It is Sir Lucian's turn, and he leaps off the stone down onto the wooded pier, raises his hand axe and hurls it at Frost Giant Raider 2. And that is 3 hits. So that is 28 points of damage to Frost Giant Raider 2. And it is now Bulb's turn. And Bulb is going to, let me just look at his character sheet. Let me check. Sorry, I've got to play Bulbs. Aha! So Bulb rushes forwards, standing parallel with Bobbit. He raises his staff and he casts Heat Metal on the Frost Giant Warrior's axe. The giant immediately screams in pain as his axe glows red hot. He takes 11 points of damage. 11 points of damage. And he is going to roll to see if he drops his axe, and that is a nat 1. He immediately lifts his hands in the air and his huge axe clatters to the ground, dropping it. It is Messica's turn. She leaps down so that she's next to Sir Lucian, but she has no daggers left, so she ends her turn. That is the end of the surprise round. For the great leader! Shout Grigori and Igor as they come running onto the scene. And it is Zinhorn's turn again.
Okay, so that's a 3, so I do not get my ground smash back.
Yep, and I'd like you to make a DC 18 con check, please, to see if you maintain the huge elemental form.
No, I do not. That was a 10.
You feel your body shake as you are separated from the earth elemental and de-summoned, turning into a cloud of dust.
Okay, so there's still one on the ground.
Yep.
Just going to start pummeling down, multi-attacking.
Yep.
And it's on the
As you do so, the Frost Giant Scald uses her reaction to blow her horn, imposing disadvantage on your attack roll.
So it just becomes normal then
Normal
because
attack roll, yep.
That is a 19.
19, that is a hit. Roll your damage.
And this is on 2d8 in this form is 7 plus 5 is 12 points of damage.
12 points of damage. Nice. He's looking
And
severely beaten up.
The second one is a 18.
18, that is a hit. Roll your damage.
That is 9 plus 5 is 14 points of damage.
14 points of damage. You bring your stone fist down, choking the life out of him as he falls to the floor, cracking the wood under his body. He makes a huge splash as he falls into the water underneath and begins to drift away.
Let's look over at Sir Lucian with a smile on Rocky's face.
It is...
Where is Zinhorn?
He's here.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I see.
It is the enemy's turn.
Yay.
So first, the Frost Giant Scald runs a bit to the south, runs towards the Frost Giant Warrior, blows her horn, and casts haste on him.
Oh no.
And then she uses her bonus action to cast Mass Healing Word.
God.
Yeah.
Like I got rid of that one first.
Okay. And she heals. Let me see. What is her spellcasting modifier? Charisma, because she is a bard. So that is... She recovers 9 HP to Frost Giant Warrior and Frost Giant Raider 1.
Yeah.
And... Okay. It is Frost Giant Warrior's turn. He has haste activated. And he has also unfortunately dropped his axe, so he can't attack with his axe.
Well, that's good to know.
However, he reaches for a nearby piece of debris.
Of course.
And hurls it at Bulb, Bobbit, Grigory, and Keeper.
Yay.
And that will be a non-natural 22.
Yeah, figures I could have actually had my other form up. I probably could have dodged that, but no.
Okay. So Alessander, you take 14 points of bludgeoning damage.
Hey,
Bulb,
thanks.
Keeper, and Grigori each take 38.
Actually, is it non-magical?
It is non-magical, yes.
Then Keeper doesn't
Oh
take
yeah,
anything.
Keeper takes the same as... Yeah, he takes nothing.
He takes nothing.
So Bulb and Grigori each take 38. Bringing Bulb down to 18.
Please stop picking on Bulb.
Then
Trying.
he uses his next multi-attack to hurl another piece of debris. But you are lucky, he rolls a 12. It sails over your head and slams into a nearby building. He has haste still active, so he grabs a third piece of debris and hurls it at Zinhorn.
Good lord. Man's just lobbing shit for these.
That is a nat 20, unfortunately, for Zinhorn.
Yay.
That is 49 points of bludgeoning damage that Zinhorn takes.
Yeah.
49.
He then uses his next multi-attack, lifts up a fourth piece of debris, and hurls it at Zinhorn again. That is a non-natural 21.
Is my shield still up?
Your shield is still up.
Then that does not hit me because yes.
Your
my
shield
armor-
flies up in front of you, and the debris hits it, breaks into two smaller pieces of debris that ricochet in opposite directions. Frost Giant Raider 1 rushes towards Lucian and Messica. He makes a great club attack, his first one on Lucian. That is a non-natural 25, so he hits Lucian for 7 points of damage. He then makes a second attack on Messica. And he hits her for... let's see... 7 points of damage. She clutches herself in pain, gasping for breath. She is obviously quite hurt. It is
Lucian.
It is Bobbitt's turn.
Right. Okay, so... with my full... I'll continue walking, going down towards the Frost Giant Warrior.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, with Keeper trailing behind you as fast as he can.
Yep. And you see what I'm going, this area seems big and open enough. Bobbit, I suppose you want to try out your lovely secret weapon? Wait, we get to use that now? I mean, the doc just looks around at like all the debris and everything that's going around. The doc's going, it's not like we can make a bigger mess of this than it already is. Hooray! You watch Bobbit start just like fishing through pockets and stuff, and then retrieves, of all things, Blinky. Just holds the little gazer out and goes, okay, we've been practicing for this one, so let's see how this goes. Best of luck, little buddy. And she casts Polymorph on Blinky.
Ooh. And what does he polymorph into?
A one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex.
It roars as it stamps its feet on the cobblestone, shaking the ground. All of the giants turn to look at it and their eyes narrow.
And since it hasn't used its movement yet, Bobbit just points towards Frost Giant Warrior and goes, go get him, Blinky!
Blinky Rex nods and it runs towards the Frost Giant and goes in with its attacks.
Everyone's growing up so fast.
Roll, see what it does. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Okay. It attempts to make its bite attack. Unfortunately, at nat 1s, clearly Blinky's still getting used to his new form, but then he goes in with his tail attack, and that is a 28, striking the Frost Giant.
In our defense, it's not like we could really find anywhere in Waterdeep to practice this sort of deal.
Fair. But his tail strikes the Frost Giant right on his chest for 25 points of damage.
The reason why I didn't want to use this while we were in like the airship fights.
Igor rushes towards the Frost Giant's Scald and he makes his attacks upon her. His 2 foreleg attacks and his bite attack. So that is, let me see, that is 2 hits. He hits with one of his forelegs and his bite. So he deals 10 points of damage plus 11 points of damage, 21. And the Frost Giant's Scald passes its con save, but still takes 10 points of poison damage. So 31 points of damage on the Scald altogether.
Yay, spider!
Meanwhile, Grigori shouts, "The great leader deserves vengeance," and makes a deadly leap towards Frost Giant Raider 1.
I'm glad we recruited these guys. This is great.
He is going to make a strength save. He
fails.
Oh. He fails. Grigori leaps upon him, dealing 29 points of slashing damage. 29. And knocking him prone.
Yay! Bob would be so proud.
Okay. It is Messica's turn. She doesn't bother making her fainting attack. She just goes straight in with her Kopeshes upon the prone giant. She hits, dealing 8 points of damage, and then 11 points of damage, 19 points of damage altogether, leaving him on 1 HP. It is Sir Lucian's turn. Sir Lucian just shrugs and he looks at Messica and he says, "Thank you, my dear," and then just digs the blade of his sword into the Frost Giant's throat, finishing it off.
All hail the great kill stealer.
Okay, it is Zinhorn's turn again.
Okay, so Zinhorn is going to transform back out of elemental form using his bonus action. And how is everyone looking health-wise?
So Bulb is currently sitting on 18, so Lucian's on 134, and Messica is on 5.
I love the fact that Lucian's down to basically what is my maximum health, a cheeky shit. I'm sitting on about half, so 77 at the moment.
So Zinhorn's going to race over towards sort of like the middle of the group over here.
Yep.
And he's going to mass cure wounds at 4th level.
That's a good idea.
Sorry, at 5th level, so that one is
level lovely.
Big old healy heals.
Yeah, sorry, it starts at 5th level. I was looking at something else that said 4th. And so mass cure wounds, 3d8. I don't like my d8s.
Come on, roll high, roll high.
Well, that's 1/8, and that's a 4, and that's a 3, so that's 8 and 4 is 12, and 3 is 15, plus 5 is 20. 20 healing?
I'll take that, thank you.
Ooh, nice, 20. Definitely good.
Thank you,
Lucian's
Zinhorn.
back up to 54, and Bulb's up to 38, and Messica's up to 28. Okay, I forgot to do Bulb's turn, so it is Bulb's turn now. He rushes up to Zinhorn, nodding in thanks, then raises his staff and casts Polymorph on the Frost Giant Warrior.
Great.
Let me just look that up. Okay,
Blinky's
so that is a Wisdom save. The Frost Giant's making a Wisdom save. He fails with a 15.
Okay.
Bulb smacks his staff on the ground, and the Frost Giant Warrior suddenly is a tiny pixie flapping its wings to stay afloat while looking up in fear at the huge Tyrannosaurus Rex in front of it.
Aw, the Blinky's moment. No. Oh well. Actually, no. I suppose if Blinky hits it at any stage, it automatically turns back into a
Yeah, but it will have
giant.
taken damage, so it's basically preventing it from doing anything.
Oh, it's just a happy look on Blinky's face. Then
Yeah.
he smashed the bug.
It's the Frost Giant Warrior Pixie's turn. It just looks up in fear at the Tyrannosaurus Rex and does nothing. It is the Frost Giant Scold's turn. And it is going, and she is going to let me see. She just roars and uses her action to reach for a nearby piece of debris, hurling it at Bulb and Zinhorn.
Rude.
That is a non-natural 25 to hit.
No! Yep. Oh no, Bulb!
So Bulb and Zinhorn, you each take 35 points of damage. Good thing you healed Bulb.
Oh, yeah, Jesus.
3 left.
Safe.
35.
God damn.
And then, as a bonus action, she is going to... Let me just check her spells. I don't think she has any that actually are. She is going to cast a 5th level... She's going to cast Mass Cure Wounds on herself. Oh wait, no, she can't do that. She's going to cast... Sorry, Max Healing Word, I meant. On herself and on the Frost Giant Warrior. And
Does that work on the Frost Giant Warrior as a pixie?
Oh yeah, no, because she hasn't lost anything. Yeah, so no, she's not going to do that. She's just going to raise her horn and blow. Giving the next attack roll against either her or the other Frost Giant disadvantage. It is now Alisandra's turn.
Of course. Well, I'll get... can keep it still can't reach the bloody Frost Giant.
No.
No, 1, 2, 3. Damn, no. Alright, well, can I get him to go and shield Bulb from any further debris attack since he doesn't take any damage from that sort of thing?
He just nods, stands in front of Bulb and raises his hands in the air.
Well, disadvantage or not, I might as well take a shot at the Scald. Now, does that work for multiple attacks in one turn?
Only the first roll will have disadvantage.
Okay, well that's good, because in that case, Bobbit casts Eldritch Blast, which at 11th level for a Warlock does 3 blasts, so I can finally do my big old Tri-Beam attack.
Tri-Beam cannon!
So the first one is unfortunately only a 12 to hit.
That does not hit, unfortunately.
And the other 2 are made as normal?
Yeah, made as normal.
Okay, the other 2 in that case, we have a... let's see, 23. And the third one's unfortunately a nat 1, so that's like a 10 overall. So I'm guessing that third one just fizzles out.
Yeah, third one just fizzles out. Perhaps not the first showing. Perhaps not the best showing for your first time.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. We're not used to firing off 3. Oh, wait, no, it's plus 10 for spell attack bonuses. Not that it really matters. But either way, 1 hits, so that's something. And you can take a big old healthy pile of 1 force damage.
Oh, whoops. Okay, lovely.
Wow,
it just hits her and she just laughs. Small folk cannot do a thing.
Bobbit just looks over at Blinky Rest and goes, Blinky, you can crush the other one.
Blinky looks back and he nods. He makes his bite attack. Nat 20's on it. That is 65 points of damage.
The fairies only have like 1. Their pixies only have like 1 HP, so that's still like 64 points of damage to the giant. He
brings his teeth down on the pixie, bites into it, and suddenly he's biting into the flesh of the Frost Giant, who's wincing in pain, dealing 64 points of damage to it. He then makes a tail attack. The tail attack just hits with a 15 and deals 28 points of damage.
Still up?
He is still up, but looks like he's taken significant damage.
Well, where's old Solution? I'm guessing it's his point to step in now.
It is Igor's turn. He makes his attack on the Frost Giant Scald again.
Yeah, amigo.
For the motherland! His 2 four-leg attacks miss, but and so does his bite, unfortunately, as she ducks out of the way.
He's trying.
Grigori runs towards the Frost Giant Warrior, makes a deadly leap. Take this! The Frost Giant Warrior is going to make his strength save. Unfortunately for Grigori, he passes with a 19. He still takes 12 points of damage, but isn't knocked prone.
Yeah.
Okay. It is Sir Lucian's turn. He runs up a staircase back onto the cobblestone and hurls his hand axe at the Frost Giant Warrior. Nat 20ing on one and hitting on the others.
God, here we go.
8 plus. He deals 23 points of damage, all up, leaving it on 1 HP.
Oh, just to change things up a bit, just for a laugh. Wait, did Messica have a turn?
Yeah, Messica gets her turn. She runs up, but can't reach the Frost Giant. It is Bulb's turn. He steps forward and he casts Call Lightning again. I'm just going to mark that on his sheet. It's his last casting of Call Lightning, and he's going to have it strike the Frost Giant Warrior. The Frost Giant Warrior passes his save, but it doesn't matter because crash, the lightning strikes him, taking him down.
He did.
It is now Zinhorn's turn again.
How is the Scald looking?
The Scald is looking a bit hurt, but she looks like she's still in fighting condition.
Yeah, she's been kind of staying back while everyone else has been getting torn apart.
Right. One of my spells are AoE. You know what? Just in case, Zinhorn's going to turn and look towards Bulb and cast heal on Bulb.
Oh, very, very good thing to do.
So Bulb is now up 70 health.
Yep, Bulb is up 70 health. He is at 73. Okay. Yep.
Those are all actions. I don't really have any bonus actions.
I don't believe you do.
Zinhorn is just going to run after doing that over this way.
Yep. Jump back down. Start running.
Not in the crowd.
Back towards the Scald. It is the Scald's turn. She grabs a nearby chunk of debris and, roaring, she hurls it at Bulb, Keeper, Bobbit, and Messica. And Sir Lucian.
So Keeper's defending Bulb on this one.
Keeper's defending Bulb, so I will make Keeper roll an attack. Let's see. I'm going to make Keeper roll an attack, and whatever he gets above Bulb's AC gets added to Bulb's AC.
Well, that's nice. Please roll high, for the love of God.
So that is Bulb's AC is 13. Bulb gets an extra +2 to his AC, bringing it to 15.
Oh, good. Yay.
Here comes the debris. It's a nat 1!
Oh, thank God!
She hurls the debris in
yeah.
obvious rage, sending it flying in the complete opposite direction and sails out into the harbour, hits the docked giant rowboat and breaks it in 2.
Oh no, there was probably loot on that. No.
Then she is going to cast haste on herself, and that is the end of her turn.
Is haste a bonus action or an action to cast?
It is an action, but she's...
But technically, doesn't the...
Actually, yeah, no, she's fine. Yeah, no, she just ends her turn. She tried to attack
straight.
couldn't.
Look at me learning how to do things.
Yeah, it is Bobbit's turn.
Look at me about to throw things. Alright, I am going to go up to where Blinky Rex is before I send him off to go play with the Scald. Because if I get pretty much next to him, because I believe if I'm next to him, I'm within 60 feet of the Frost Giant Scald, and I would like to show this lovely giant exactly what small folk can do by casting Toll the Dead on her.
Ooh.
So I need her to make a Wisdom saving throw.
Makes
the DC
a Wisdom
is now...
saving throw of 14.
And that fails miserably because the DC for my spells is now 18. And again, because we're at 11th level, that's going to be 3d12 because she's already taken damage.
Yes.
I like this. This is fun. Now, for the first time in what feels like a billion years, I have to roll a d12.
Yeah, rarely ever happens.
Let's face it, unless you're a barbarian, this dice is practically useless. 11 plus 8 plus... Wow, that's actually really good. 11 plus 8 plus 10. So that is... 11 plus 10 is 21, plus 8 is... You can have yourself 29 points of necrotic damage.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, Blakey! If he can make it.
I'm just adding that up. Nice, okay. Blinky roars and charges 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, charging all the way to the Frost Giant's Scald. He lets out a roar and goes in with his bite attack. That is a 17. He hits her 23 points of damage, and she is grappled in his gaping maw. He then swings with his tail. That is a 19, and he deals an extra 19 points of damage, so altogether 42 points of damage.
Yeah, look at Bobbit's squadron getting shit done, and Keeper's just gonna stick to protecting Bulb. He's doing a good job at that.
Bulb's turn. He jumps down, runs closer to Bobbit, and then uses because he has to bring the Call Lightning into range.
I know, but now it's just like, yay, Keeper, go protect... Oh, crap, he's already run.
It's okay, Keeper's following behind, and is standing, able to keep pace with him. And then Bulb shouts, "Full giant I may not be, but I respect the small folk," and crash, the lightning strikes the Frost Giant's Scald. She fails her dex save with a 3 and takes 29 points of damage.
Wow. So now how's she looking?
She is now looking...
She was looking good. She was looking half decent before, then...
Yeah, she's looking quite bloodied at this point.
I mentioned a turn ago, it's a case of, yes, I am here. I can fight off these fools all day. 10 seconds later. Okay, maybe I take that back a little.
Igor waves a foreleg and he shouts, "Big Lizard do the job well enough to be hero of the people. Now let Igor finish the job." And he makes his 2 foreleg attacks. One of them hits, then he makes his bite attack. Unfortunately, it's a nat 1. He deals 12 points of damage to her.
Grigory, go again.
Grigory runs, makes a deadly leap towards her. She makes a strength save. Passing with a 19, but she still takes half of the damage as he comes down, flailing his forelegs towards her, and she takes 14 points of damage. She now has 20 HP left. So Lucian runs forwards, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He's going to roll with disadvantage because he's too far away for his hand axe to actually be in range. So he's going to roll with disadvantage.
You just hear Crickets and Horde in the background just laughing at this, going, maybe he can fail for once.
And rolling with disadvantage, he's only able to hit her 1 time. dealing 12 points of damage to her, leaving her on 8 HP.
So she's having a great time.
Zinhorn's
Somebody else
turn.
gets- My god, Zinhorn can finish the job for once. Go again, Zinhorn!
So, how am I? Can I get to her with my 35?
Let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You get here, about halfway there.
Nuts. So, I think, what do I have that is actually going to work? And she is currently surrounded.
She is.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to, right behind her, summon a fire elemental.
Oh, good
Ooh,
god.
nice.
The walking definition of overkill.
Fire elemental appears right behind her.
Yeah,
She
Dresser
recoils instinctually away from the heat.
Oh yeah, I should have been throwing fire spells this whole time. The one time I don't think to do that naturally.
It was your time to actually use fire.
Yeah, but Blinkysaurus.
Yeah, Blinkysaurus pulled his weight.
And we're just going to go melee multi-attack.
Go ahead.
First is a 13 to hit.
Unfortunately, that doesn't hit.
Second is a 16 to hit.
That is a hit. Roll your damage.
Oh, good.
Come on, buddy. Well, you only gotta get higher than an 8 and you're done.
Well, it is 2d6 plus 3, so as long as I get at least 5 points of
Watch him
damage.
roll 2 1s just because the universe hates him.
I rolled 2 6s.
Oh,
Lovely.
So that is 15 points of fire damage.
She recoils instinctually away from the fire elemental, her eyes growing wide, her mouth slowly dropping open. She shouts, "The heat! The heat! I cannot take it!" as the fire elemental lashes out with a flame, striking her right in the middle of the face. She screams, "Ah!" as she falls backwards. The ground shakes as she hits the floor. Combat is over. You may take a short rest if you like.
Again, Xenon just looks over at Solution and goes, "That was mine."
Wait, short rest as in this shit isn't. Oh god, we still have the actual freaking.
The Jarl, yes. Although he might be open to negotiation after
I hope
you've
so,
decimated
'cause-
his raiding party.
I've already used up 2 of my main once per day spells, and I can't exactly reanimate this slot because they're too big. On the bright side.
Well, it doesn't say it. Does it say medium or smaller for your spell?
No, I'm pretty sure if I check where it's at.
Animate's dead.
What? I got this. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, medium or small.
Yeah, medium or
Yep,
small.
Unfortunately, they are too big.
Way too big. But no, short rest is good because I get the rest of my normal spells back.
Yes.
How long does polymorph last for? I'm guessing. Pretty sure polymorph's an hour.
Yep. It is an
so
hour.
I guess.
Bulb
So he still
spends
sits around.
5 of his hit dice to get back to full health.
Well, it's gonna hug Jumbo Blinky.
Sir Lucian spends 3 of his hit dice to get back to full health.
Xenon spends 4 to get back to full.
I'll be with you in half a minute.
And I can wild shape again. Yay!
Okay.
And Messica spends all of her hit dice to return to full health.
So everyone's now back to full.
Seems so.
Yeah, I just gotta count up how much it takes for me to get there.
You sit in the calmness for the next few minutes, bandaging your wounds, reaching into your pack, pulling out some dried biscuits and bread, making a meager meal as you stare out into the Bay of Cholt and see the Jarl's longship bobbing there on the horizon. Grigori and Igor crawl forwards. They salute you in turn, and they say, "We hope we were of help to the great motherland."
Yes, we're awesome.
Bulb nods and says, "You performed greater than I ever expected you to. Thank you very much." They salute again, and then they look out into the bay and they say, "Now you proceed over the great water. We cannot come. Our spider legs are not meant for the water, but we return to the grove to assist anyone who requires it."
Before you go to the grove, are you able to assist with any cleanup in the town from these pests?
Grigori raises a foreleg and he says, "We shall use our webs to try to patch up the holes, yes."
Appreciate that.
"The great motherland salutes you for capitalism!" they shout as they scuttle away, rounding a corner and heading down the streets back into the city proper.
Oh, those guys are fun. Oh.
But you're glad Bulbum recruited them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I never doubted that for a second. I just thought it was going to be a fun gag, but now they're absolutely whooping us.
I'm glad I sent word for them.
Yes. Look out into the half-destroyed dock, and there, bobbing at the very end of a splintered jetty, you see a rowboat just big enough to hold all of you. You may be able to row out to the long ship, but if you could think of any other ways to get there that would not require you to be sitting ducks in a rowboat, please feel free.
Well, since we're going to be on a wooden boat surrounded by water, I'm gonna have to get rid of the water element, the fire elemental, I think.
Unfortunately, yes. You won't be able to come along.
No.
I'm not entirely sure how Blinky's going to go with traversing water the way he is at the moment. Although, how big is Blinky?
He's huge. He's almost the size of the giants themselves.
So would he be able to walk through?
You could try. You could tell him to go in the water and see what happens. He just looks at you with one of his eyes and lets out a sound as he
we're working
stomps down a nearby boat ramp into the water. And as he makes his way down into the bay, the water rises up and up and up until it comes just beneath his jaw and won't go any higher.
So right now in that particular part of the water he can get in, but any further it's going to be too deep for him.
Yeah, possibly.
Well, I was hoping to keep him around for afterwards, but no, we'll end the
You can search for a bigger boat or charter one.
The only big boat that they had was the Giants one, and they kind of smashed.
You can search the dock area for just people's boats and maybe borrow someone's larger boat if you like.
Anyone out for looking for a bigger boat?
What do you say, Zinhorn?
Well, we cleared up everything on land, and they're only in the water, so as long as they don't try and get away, then I suppose we have time. But how big a boat will we need to get Blinky Rex?
I mean, I'd prefer not to have to fight if we can talk our way through this. Personally, because these guys are annoying and fighting them hurts.
Speaking of, do you take any more trophies from these giants?
Well, do they have anything on them that would be of value?
No, their weapons and armor appear to be normal, if huge versions of just axes and leather armor, but I was speaking more of, does Bobbert want to take another finger or two, just so that he has more proof to the Jarl, so that she has more proof to the Jarl that
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take something of the friggin' Scald, since that one seems to have been slightly more important than the others, and more annoying to be perfectly
Did Skull have like a wand or she had the
She has her horn.
her horn?
Yeah.
You do, as you linger over the horn, you do notice that it's inlaid with several gems, and it's possible that it serves as an arcane focus, but itself is not magical.
Fair enough. Well, we can find a way to move that.
It looks pretty, so we can
Take it if you want.
make use of it.
Yeah, it definitely counts as proof that his forces have been drawn back. So, yeah.
So you take her horn and attach it to your backpack with the fingers you took from the other giants.
Just like knees just straining at this point, going, why am I the one carrying all the heavy things? Maybe
Because you want the heavy things.
I only need to convince them to leave and we have to stop fighting for 5 minutes.
And then I would like someone to make an investigate check, please.
I'm struggling to carry things, so Zinhorn.
Is anyone else better at investigate? Yeah, no, that's a whopping 3.
You're whopping 3.
Must I do everything here for God's sake?
Bulb can attempt it if you like.
Fine, let him have a go.
So he gets +2 on his. So let me see. That's a 21 for Bulb.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait, no, it's a 16 for Bulb, so I accidentally rolled 2 d20s. So it's a 16 for Bulb, but that is fine. So you spend 10-20 minutes making your way around the harbour area, and very quickly the giant attack seems to be forgotten. Within 10-15 minutes, the guards arrive to drag the giants' bodies away, and workmen start patching up damage that was done to the docks. And the dock workers step out of the buildings in which they were hiding and start to get back to work, carting cargo on and off various boats docked around the harbour.
These guys seem confident about our abilities to end this.
Eventually, you come to a small sloop, presumably serving as a fishing trawler, as there's an orange silhouette of a fish painted along the side of the ship. And the crew, rather than being busy carting crates of cargo on and off like everyone else is, are just leaning against the posts along the side of the jetty, enjoying a late afternoon meal, eating beef jerky and dried biscuits. You quickly bring up the idea of approaching the giant longship, and at first they think you're crazy, they nearly laugh you off, but then they see the horn and the giant finger on Bobbit's back weighting her down, and their eyes grow wide. The sea-bitten captain steps forward, ruffles his grey beard, and he says, I'll take you out to the longboat, but not for free. Let's say, I'd like somebody to make a persuasion check, please, sorry.
Well, gee whiz, I suppose that'd be me, although I know I have to make them a disadvantage, because talking is...
Yes,
damn it, I
that
knew
is correct.
That's the one thing I forgot I wanted to do with downtime. Shit.
Yeah, that's okay, there'll be more downtime.
I know, but bugger it. I mean, luckily, I still get a +10 to whatever I roll, so...
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a 16.
A 16. Spend 5 minutes haggling back and forth with the captain as he names a price, and then you name a lower price, and he names one that's slightly higher. This process goes on, repeats for at least 5 or 6 separate cycles until you settle on a final price of 500 GP.
God damn.
Yeah, Zinhorn can't afford that.
Fine. Well, considering Bo technically stole some of the money to for her own things, it's just going to look eye-twitching. Oh, Alessandra's going to be like looking just worn out because it's like, for God's sake, you people are relentless. We literally just saved your stinking city, but fine, 500 gold, and just marches onto the boat.
Aye, says the captain as he takes the bag of money. You did defeat the giants, that it be. However, you're still asking us to sail over to a frost giant longship, and
Yes.
who knows how many of the blighters will be on there waiting for us.
Yes, well, consider it possibly insurance for if you all die horribly. Let's go already!
Alright, men, he shouts. Lunch break's over, we got a task. Come on, everyone, sails up, anchors away! And so the sloop heads out into the harbour, sailing through the Bay of Cholt as the wind buffets the white sails. And despite the relatively small size of this sloop, it travels at a surprisingly fast speed, and you watch the longboat gets larger and larger and larger, and then your hearts sink as you see a humanoid shadow on the side of the ship running along the side of the longship and standing behind a great ballista. "They've spotted us!" shouts the captain. "Everybody brace!" The crew scurry back and forth, doing their best to maneuver the ship out of the way of the ballista's line of fire while the rest of you attempt to brace. I would like everybody to please make you may make either an athletics check, or you may make a straight constitution check.
Athletics or constitution?
I got +4 regardless, so I will go con.
That is well, athletics I have a +7, so that's 18 plus 7.
18 plus 7.
25.
And non-nat 20.
Thunk! The ballista fires and a huge arrow flies through the air towards the sloop. You feel the entire ship shudder as the arrow hits it with a loud crash. You take no damage as you successfully braced. "Captain, we're taking water!" shouts one of the crew members running below deck. You there, and you there!" points the captain. "Get below deck, start bailing water, and start patching up that hole. The rest of you," he points towards the party, "get on those ropes over there. We gotta maneuver out the way of this ballista." You see the frost giant on the longship loading another great arrow into the ballista, and then thunk! It fires again. Bring her on! Shouts the captain. I would like you to please, if you would like to maneuver the ropes, make an athletics check. Otherwise, if you would like to spot the ballista, you may make a perception check, and then that'll grant advantage to whoever makes an athletics check.
Well, I guess I'll be perceptioning.
Yep, what would you like to do, Bobbit?
Well, I'll go the athletics since
Alright.
perception is trash.
Zinhorn, please make a perception check.
25.
25. You watch as the ballista is fired. You quickly judge its trajectory, turn to the captain and shout, "No, that way, quick!" The captain barks the changed orders. "Oh, not to the left, to the right yet! Put your muzzles into it!" Bobbit, please roll an athletics check with advantage. I'll be doing the same for Bulb, Sir Lucian, and Nessica.
That is a 22 for athletics.
22. Okay, let me roll for Bulb and Sir Lucian. So that is Sir Lucian plus 6. That is a pass. Another one for Bulb. And a 17 for Bulb. You grab the ropes and pull them with all your might, willing your muscles to direct the ship to the right out of the trajectory of the ballista. You hear a splash and are soaked in seawater as the great ballista arrow misses the ship, sinking into the ocean. Good, lads!
Okay, how
good!
close...
Yep.
So how close are we to this ship at this point?
Nearly there, calls the captain. A few knots more. They're getting ready to fire another one. You see another arrow get loaded into the ballista. At this point, you're about 30 or 40 feet away from the longship. The great wooden boat looming ahead of you, and you can see the carved swan at its prow very clearly.
Can I cast... how long has it been since I cast Tongues originally? Because it lasts for an hour.
Yeah, it's been longer than an hour now.
Damn it.
It says 30 to 40 feet away from the ship.
Yeah, that's fair. Hold on a sec.
Zinhorn is going to... Can I see what is about to fire?
Yes, you can. You look up and you see a frost giant raider similar to the ones you fought back at the docks, loading a arrow into the ballista. His great eyes narrowing as he watches and keeps track of the sloop.
I was hoping if Tongues was still active, I could have gone straight for Thaumaturgy and tried to talk to them, but now I have to do either one or the other, because I'm guessing I don't have time for both.
May or may not, you can try.
Yeah, I'll start with Tongues and then see if I've got time for Thaumaturgy.
Yep. You cast Tongues on yourself. Just as there's a great thunk, the ballista fires again.
Is Zinhorn towards like the sort of the front of the ship, or?
You're on the side that's facing the long ship.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, Zinhorn, if the ballista's about to sort of hit the ship, Zinhorn's going to do like any kind of reaction sort of thing to like thunder wave to see if he can knock it off trajectory.
Ooh, nice. Evasive maneuvers, calls the captain as everyone else runs across the deck, grabs hold of the ropes and starts adjusting the sails. Bobbit's cast a spell, Zinhorn's holding a spell, so Sir Lucian and Bulb will do their strength checks. Okay, Bulb passes his, Sir Lucian does not, and Messica does not. So that is a fail. Although everyone scrambles to adjust the sails, the ship is unable to get out of the trajectory of the ballista bolt. Zinhorn casts Thunder Wave, a wave of crashing sound energy lashes out, strikes the ballista bolt and knocks it just enough off course that it splashes into the ocean, spraying you all with seawater. "Good call, lad!" shouts the captain. "We're nearly there, get ready to board!" The ship sails further towards the longship until the nose of the sloop is touching the side of the longship. One of the crew members rushes forwards with a grappling hook raised in his hand, and he hurls it up in the air. It comes to rest at the top of the side of the longship. "Climb! Climb!" calls the captain. "Be as quick as you can, we'll be waiting for you!"
I guess we're climbing up.
Don't have to.
Don't have to? I mean, no, I believe in you.
Probably better too.
Yeah.
You quickly scramble up the rope, climbing over the side of the longship, flanked with huge shields, each one big enough to cover your whole body if you just stood in front of it. You drop down the other side and land on the deck, great wooden beams crisscrossing the inside of the boat overhead. You see 3 frost giant raiders. One of them was manning the ballista. Having lost sight of the sloop, he lets go of the ballista and another one turns, sees you all climbing onto the ship, points and shouts. Behind them, you see the frost giant Jarl, clad in thick plate armor, wearing what appears to be a huge white dragon skull for a helmet, his eyes glowing an evil blue in the sunlight as he sees you. He reaches for his weapon as the Frost Giant raiders grab their clubs and begin to advance towards you. What do you do?
Can I say something? Can I cast Thaumaturgy on myself and say something before they start attacking?
You can.
Well, pretty much raise my hands up after casting and just go, "We wish to parley!"
Please make a persuasion check. Actually, no, just a straight charisma check.
Okay, straight charisma check, so over I roll +5, that is 22.
The giants continue advancing. The Frost Giant Jarl smiles a toothy grin under the dragon skull helmet. And then he raises his right hand, barks an order for the raiders to stop. Takes a step forward, looks down at you all, and he says, "Small folk, not only brave enough to board a Frost Giant longship, but speaking the tongue of the Frost Giants, color me impressed. Impressed enough to give you 30 seconds to speak."
Wonderful. With that, we'll untie the both the horn and the finger that was on Bobbitt's back. Lets that hits the side and goes, "Both your forces you left into the city have already been defeated, and as we tried to explain to them, though they seem reluctant to listen, the Ring of Winter which you have come to claim is not in the city. We only learned just this morning before your assault began that the one who wields it had already left. We don't know where he's gone exactly. All we know is that the ring is not here. We apologize if this has been a waste of time on your part. We simply wish to seek to cease hostilities against the city."
Please make an intimidation check.
Intimidation? Ah, god damn it.
Well, you are showing him pieces of his fallen comrades.
I know, but I was hoping that was going to help more with the persuasion side of things. God damn it.
And you may add +2 to the roll, because you are showing
Actually,
him.
you know what? I don't need to, because that was a nat 20.
The Frost Giant Jarl frowns. He says, "We sailed all the way from Icewind Dale across the ocean to search for the Ring of Winter." Then, as you place the Frost Giant finger on the deck in front of you, his eyes widen and he says, "You are not as helpless as you look, I see. Very well. I shall humor you." Then, you place the Skull's horn down on the deck next to the finger, underneath the dragon skull. The Jarl's eyes widen, his mouth twists into an angry scowl, and he says, That horn! You bested the Skald!"
Indeed. As you said, we're not nearly as helpless as you would probably have been led to believe.
In a swift motion, he reaches for the greatsword on his back, withdraws it, holds it in front of him, and roars, "You killed my bride!"
Oh, come on. How are we supposed to know that? We asked her and everyone else that we came across to surrender. We told them it wasn't there. That's not our fault.
Please make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
No shit.
This is not going to end well.
No shit. Non-nat 20.
He takes a deep breath, still holding the sword in front of him. You see the sword tremble, and he says, Perhaps if she could fall to small folk, she was not worthy of being the bride to an Arl such as myself." He thinks for a moment, deep in silence, and he says, "Very well. I've already lost a bride and personal friends in this raiding party. I will give the order to retreat. We will sail back to Icewind Dale. But know this, small folk, he says, the sword still held in front of him, trembling. You slew the love of my life. One day I will return with a greater force than the one you defeated. I will unite all of the clans underneath me, and we will return. We will launch another raid on this pathetic city and raise it all until I find you and get revenge. Is that understood?
Xenhorn just looks over at Bob and goes, what's going on?
Oh, right. He's speaking in giant this whole time, isn't he?
He is.
Okay, just tilts the head and goes, so, it turns out this is the one who...
Not so loud!
Oh, sorry, kill that for a second. Sorry, kind of forgot that's on for a moment there. Okay, so short answer is, the one with the horn turns out was his bride. We managed to talk to a stalemate. He's going to leave for now, but one day plans to unite all the giant tribes in the sole hope of marching here and wiping this entire city off the face of the earth.
And so he expects us to let this happen?
I mean, do you want to fight him?
Well,
I don't know much about giants, but the fact that they'd have to try and unite all their clans, I can't imagine them all getting along. Plus, it gives us time to prepare the city, prepare some of the warriors, so that, we don't just let giants walk into the middle of the city. Plus, I don't live here.
So Lucian just looks and says, but I do. That
Yes.
said, we don't know how long it will take for him to unite the giant clans. Frost giants in particular. The different clans have been at war for centuries now. It might take this Jarl just as long to force them to put their petty differences aside.
Considering how stubborn they were to listen to us when we told them that the Ring of Winter wasn't here, I can't imagine an enterprise like that will be happening anytime soon. But if you want, I can translate for a second, and looks back over and goes, some of my associates are curious to know how long you think it would take to unite your tribes. Just a rough guess.
The Jarl looks at you and he just says, does it matter? I will return to Icewind Dale, a 3-month voyage across the ocean. There, I will make an audience with the Jarl of each clan. We shall settle our differences through single combat or otherwise. We shall unite a force. It will not be hard to convince the other Jarls to join behind me. Giant society is in a shambles. The ordning is intact, but just barely. A mewling queen sits on the throne, and her blood are not even worth acknowledging as rulers of giant kind.
Fascinating. I will translate that to the rest of them going, so, bare minimum, takes 3 months, it's a 6-month round trip, plus the time it would take to try and unite all the clans. I'd say you'd have a year to, well, only Hubtower would know how long.
The Frost Giant looks at you, he says, what do you say?
That part I said
folk?
common to the others.
Yep.
and what's his plan with this ring now that it's not here? Is he...
Oh, that's a good question. What are your intentions for the one who wields the Ring of Winter, since it is no longer in the city?
When we find him, we will destroy him, crush him underfoot like the insect he is, and take the ring back. When I return with a greater army and raise this city and everything that lies beyond, no doubt we will find him in the process.
Again, tilts back and goes back to common and goes, well, simply put, they're going to crush, the usual giant stuff, grind bones, make bread, take the ring back. Pretty much all of this banks solely on the plan of uniting all of his tribes. So it's either we fight them now, they beat the living snot out of us, and we may be able to scrape out a win, or we have at least a year to prepare the city. I can only imagine what looks specifically at Bulbins and Hongos, what you two could possibly do and learn in that time.
Bulb just looks at you and he says, "The spiders seemed capable against giants, did they not?"
Yes. I guess we have our work cut out for us.
Look, it's either that or we try to fight right now, and honestly, after today and everything that's happened, I've half a mind simply to sink this ship and call it a... So...
Don't say that too loudly, because, you know, there is others on board right now who would like to do the same.
To put it simply, if you have time, look, this isn't even a guarantee that they could even unite the clans. For all we know, he could get killed by the first one he comes across, and we never hear of this ever again.
So Lucian just shrugs and says,
"Since you three are the ones who are actually in the city itself, and actually live here, and wish to see it stand for another day, me personally, I couldn't stand this place much longer, I'll leave it to you three.
If they come back here, I'll be telling them exactly where you are, since you're the one who talks."
So Lucian just shrugs and he says, "Well, a day of heroism already done today. I can retire and watch a race before I have to think about fighting again. I'm all for it."
That's for nine.
"Well," says the frost giant Jarl, looking at you, his eyes glowing like cold blue flames under the dragon skull. "What will it be, small folk?"
"Grab the horn and let's go."
Okay.
He can keep the finger.
No, he can keep the horn. It was a token of his late bride, so...
He can...
Look, it's not... I'm sure we could find other treasures.
He can have the finger, we'll have the horn. Even split.
Look, I'm not negotiating any further on this one. The fact that they're not trying to kill us outright is a win, so take what you can, and I'll reimburse you. Maybe I'll give you a discount at my store. One problem at a time. Very well, great Jarl. We will honor your request. We shall depart your vessel... by your mercy, we shall depart your vessel and allow you to leave and return to Icewind Dale. Though, obviously, we will inform our superiors of your plan and could have some good sport of it on your return. We wish you best of luck with your uniting of the tribes. It sounds like quite an imposing venture. I'm sure you'll manage, though.
Says the Jarl. He looks to you, and still holding his sword, he raises his free hand, gestures for you to leave, and says, "Throw them overboard." The other frost giants approach you,
our
menacing,
boat's right there.
growling.
Our boat's right there. We could just jump off ourselves.
You just
In
raise
fact,
your
I'm
hands.
going.
Yeah.
Keeper, we're leaving.
Keeper walks towards the side of the longboat and pulls himself over.
Fairly well. Best of luck and all that.
The rest of you scramble down the rope onto the sloop below to see the captain and the crew waiting, their mouths aghast. "Well, I'll be honest with you," says the captain. "I thought you were all dead meat as soon as you climbed over the side of that longship."
Yes, it's amazing. I can't get a decent deal on a long ship, but I can negotiate hostilities between frost giants and Schultz. You can take me back now. I'm sick of all of this.
"Buckle back in, hopefully it'll be a smoother ride back." He smiles.
For their sake, I hope it is.
The crew members dart about the deck, grabbing hold of the ropes, adjusting the sails, and the longship
just goes to the back of the boat and just keeps his eye out the back.
Yes,
Zinhorn,
good plan.
you watch as the longship grows smaller and smaller as you leave it, and then just as one of the crew members shouts, "Land ho!" and the ship starts to slow down to re-enter the Port Nyanzaru harbour, you see 3 gigantic oars jut out from the side of the longship, dipping into the water. And then, as the oars sweep through the blue ocean, the longship begins to turn until the swan faces away from you. In the distance, carrying on the wind, you hear the sound of the frost giant Jarl barking an order. Row! 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 As the longship draws further and further away until it reaches
Xenon just puts up one hand with his thumb and his finger on either side of the ship and just closes it slowly.
Lovely. Frost's giant longship reaches the horizon and then continues onwards, being swallowed by the curvature of the blue ocean.
Oh, that went well, I think. What do you think, Bobbit? Well, no one's dead, so yay win?
When you get back to shore, you find that the damage from the attack on the harbour is all but nearly fixed. The 20 or 30 minutes that it took you to sail out to the longship proved to be more than enough time for them to get the infrastructure and the scaffolding all set up, and already the foundations of new buildings have been laid down. You leave the harbour. You find the druids of the Emerald Enclave assisting to the wounded commoners, dispensing healing and food to those who were afflicted by either the giants' attacks or had their homes or businesses destroyed. Grigori and Igor are scuttling around, using their webs to create ropes to haul building materials up to the top of scaffolding so that repairs can be made to walls and buildings throughout the market district. And there, overseeing this reconstruction effort that is already more than underway as the sky above starts to turn red as the sun begins to set, is Wakanga, and next to him, Jobal. Wakanga smiles, and he says, I pulled a favor with Jobal. I was able to get him to hire all of his artisans and construction men to get to work immediately. All of the damage should be repaired within a 10 day.
Well, we managed.
Yep.
We managed to cease their attack before more damage could be done, but this will still probably be an issue in the future, and I'll just update.
This is a discussion for more enclosed doors, I would say.
Indeed,
fair enough.
Says Wakanga. He looks, exchanges glances with Jobal, and he says, this is not the first time Port Nyanzaru has been attacked, nor will it be the last. Let that be known. Whatever is to happen, with our heroes here ready to help us, we will be ready for it.
Xenon just wants to escort them back to the Enclave Sanctuary, where once all this is done, and we'll to do the whole discussioning of the situation that has arisen.
That will be a discussion for another time, my friend, says Wakanga. He says, we will come to the Enclave and discuss what happened on the longship. But first, we need to repair the damage. He gestures towards a wooden crate next to Jobal. Inside you can see hammers, boxes of nails, and wood saws. He says, please, dig in if you can. At this, Jobal just nods. And as he sees the look on your faces, contemplating what, if anything, you know about construction, he walks towards you. reaches into the folds of his white cloak and pulls out a small leather pouch, pulls out a small leather pouch, one for each of you. He hands it to you, and then he smiles, and he says, "A thank you from the people of Port Nyanzaru for helping the city, for being the heroes of Cholt once again." Inside the pouch for each of you is 250 gold pieces.
Hooray, I got half my money back for the boat.
And that concludes
So,
this week's session.
Ah, yay.
Yeah. So Zinhorn and Bobbit, you each gain 1 inspiration.
Yay.
Didn't hope so. Yay, master negotiations.
Furthermore, it is later found in the aftermath of the cleanup that the Frost Giant rowboat did indeed have supplies aboard. Supplies designed to escalate the raid if the Giants met any resistance. Of course they did. They didn't have enough time to regroup and reorganize, meaning they never had a chance to employ the additional measures they brought aboard their rowboat. Would like someone to please roll a d20 for me.
Well, Zinhorn, you've put up with my crap today, so you know what? All yours. Roll away.
That is a 16.
A 16. Inside the rowboat, one single item is found that could be used by someone who is not a giant, and this is only because of its magic that allows it to change size to reflect whoever is wearing it. A set of cloth braces that enlarge or shrink to fit the arms of whoever attunes to them. Please make an Arcana check to attempt to identify it.
I'm just going to cast...
Or I could cast Identify.
Everybody cast Identify!
You cast Identify. This is a set of braces of archery.
Ooh.
While wearing
Give me
these
option.
braces, you have proficiency with the long bow and short bow, and you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls on ranged attacks made with such weapons. It's an uncommon item, requires attunement.
Does anybody in that group use ranged attacks? Well,
Bulb does.
Not bows type and stuff. Like, I've got a short bow, but I don't think I've ever used it.
I don't think Bulbs have really used his much either, but
He has one just in case. This might make it more
viable,
more
true.
useful for him.
Well, we'll keep it for now, and
Yeah. Worst case scenario, I can always sell it.
Yep, Bulb takes it, he puts it on. He looks at it, and because he's a fur bulb, the braces pretty much already fit around his wrists without changing much, so he just puts them on by virtue of being the only one who's the correct size. And then he smiles and he says, maybe they'll have a use. We shall see. We shall see. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here today, especially Hatrack Gaming, or Hatter, HRG, who has been lurking and watching our VODs for a long time, but has not been able to catch us live for quite a bit. So thank you for joining us, Hat.
Congratulations.
thank you.
Congratulations and welcome.
We hope you're doing well. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time for some more Vampire the Chicago Chronicles as Roger and Barry and Alexander scramble to find who has put their touchstones in danger and what they can do about it. But until then, when the Frost Giants attack, count on the heroes of Cholt to defend the city. Goodbye,
Yay.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.